so that this country can be healed and that Kenyans can raise a voice of thanksgiving to the Lord. I also want to say that AWE has a bigger vision, and I know Jeff will talk more about that. We are committed to mental health, and Jeff will give more details. But this event is to usher us into a bigger thing. Lastly, let me say, Israel, while you're in Kenya, we want to be a blessing to you, and we want you to be a blessing to us. So speak a word to our gospel industry, and bless us, so that the favor you're experiencing, we can also experience. God bless you.
Thank you very much. And Peter, maybe you just want to do it now. What should the people expect? Because I know you're putting together a whole ensemble of great music.
Right. Ted, you will know that the sound in Kenya has changed a lot. We've come from DJ Nipatie Track 6 to a fully fledged band production. And so we have Karura voices, we have rock worship, we have Destiny voices, that's Pastor T's church. We have Mike Manoa with City Lighters. We have rock worship. We have Adonij. We have K-Crew worship team. But for the Gen Zs, we didn't leave them behind. We were very careful. And so we brought Timeless Noel and DJ Gigi. And those guys will be sort of creating the way for Israel. And those are the teams that will sing. And please expect excellence. Excellence, we've been practicing, we are good, and we know the Lord will be praised. So thank you.
Thank you very much. We'll also have an open mic session between 12 o'clock and 2 for a lot of the upcoming artists. And one of the other visions that we have as Africa Worship Experience is to reinvest in the gospel industry. For a very long time, we've been complaining that the gospel industry is going down, that we don't have gospel artists. I want to assure you that this is for the long haul. The gospel industry must arise like the valley of dry bones. Let me allow Wamboi to do this before. Wamboi from Cup Media, just karibisha watu and tell us what you guys are doing for us and why.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon. As you heard, my name is Wamboi from Cape Media. We are the owners of TV and Radio 47, and we are proud to be the official media partners for the Israel Bonyi Live in Kenya. Our job solely is to ensure we have taken content across the country. We are going to send testimonies. The music that we will play will ensure whatever Israel and AWE are willing to share with the world, we take it to the world. As you see, we are TV47, and 47 means all counties. We are grateful to be here. And Israel, welcome to Kenya.
Thank you very much, Mr. Krishna. You guys have been kind and wonderful enough to host us. Please, a word from you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to Sankara, Nairobi. Just on behalf of us, I would like to welcome Israel Bonyi. It's a pleasure to host you, being the official partners for accommodation. It's a great thrill for us. And Israel, I just want to say personally, I think it's wonderful to meet artists, but it's especially wonderful to meet artists who make such a positive impact on people's lives with their music. So we really look forward to the concert, and welcome.
Mr. Krishna, before you go, just maybe take the time to explain to the media about the new role that Israel was part of, and why you're doing it as a hotel, and what's the involvement. In case they see it somewhere, they'll know it was done here.
Yes, so we're very grateful for Israel to participate in our conservation program with WWF called Herd of One. It's basically to raise awareness and raise funds for elephant conservation in Kenya. So you'll see, watch this space on Monday, on World Elephant Day. Israel has painted a part or a portion of a huge artistic mural, which will be shown to everyone starting on Friday evening onwards. So we're very grateful for that, Israel, because conservation involves everyone, from celebrities to business leaders to just everyone in society. So we're very grateful for Israel to participate in such an event.
Thank you. Ladies and gentlemen, out of 96% of the suicides happening in the world are men. And one of the things that we are committing to ourselves to do as the Africa Worship Experience is to invest our time, our influence, our knowledge, and our capability on the issue of mental health. This particular topic is not being given enough attention because anytime you talk about mental health, people think you're saying that you're crazy. But one of the things is that each and every one of us has a degree of a mental problem that we need to solve. All of us are hurting, all of us are not yet healed, and we're having lots of problems, not only people in finance, in careers, in just the whole personal development. So as AWE, we are committing 100% of our effort towards mental health. And we start tomorrow talking to creatives from the church and beyond, and would like to invite creatives tomorrow to a conversation tomorrow morning from 7:30 at the Parklands Baptist Church, where we shall have Israel and the team, where we shall talk about mental health, and we must get a solution. We must get help, and especially kwa wasanii. Wasanii lazima tutafute njia ya kusolve hii issue. We're not losing any more artists to depression, to drug abuse, to alcoholism, to drunkenness, or anything. We are not going to allow it anymore. And as an industry, and as the Africa Worship Experience, take this to the bank. We are going to fight till the last drop about mental health. And we don't care whether people come with us. We are going with God, and we shall make sure that this thing is won. So as a name, we shall release a few numbers that you can call to anybody who's at home. Don't give up. We'll release a few numbers in the next few days. Call, somebody will pick up, we'll talk to you, we'll help you. We have pastors on standby, we have counselors, psychologists on standby. We even have courses to think about their careers again. We shall not let you guys give up. All right, that is our promise. It's the Africa Worship Experience. Remember, it's about we want to motivate, we want to inspire, and we want to uplift you guys. So, with that being said, let me introduce the tour promoter, Mr. Kirobi, to please just speak to us, and then he will invite Israel to make some remarks. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you so much, Ted. Ladies and gentlemen, how are you? Very good. Thank you so much, guys, for showing up. My name is Kirobi. I'm the tour promoter for this concert, and I'm honored to be here and to work with the Africa Worship Experience. And like Ted has said, we are very passionate about mental health. I believe it's an ongoing conversation around the world, but on the 10th of August, we shall be launching or lighting up a torch of hope, where we have partnered with different churches, where you are able to just run it somewhere when you're struggling with issues, mental health, you'll be able to run and seek help. So I want to thank you so much, guys. I also want to thank Israel. Thank you for heeding to our call to come to Kenya. You've come at the right time. This nation needs God, it needs prayers, and we are raising a voice on that day. To thank Sankara. Thank you so much. You guys have been very, very, very nice to us. Thank you for hosting us. And I would also like to thank our partners. I want to thank KQ, that is Kenya Airways. I want to thank Safaricom. I want to thank Irian by Event. I want to thank Ideal Empire Events. I want to thank Cape Media. I want to thank Ticket Tier 2. The list is endless. Let me just confirm. Yes, I also want to thank Maridadi Motors. Yes, Maridadi Motors are very good to us. I want to thank Fan City, Little Cup, Uber, Raha Premium, Payless, Laugh Industry, Baraka Smiles, Ngoma Tucheze, Ori City, Luton, and Icon Prime. Thank you so much, guys, and I want to guarantee you that come the 10th of August is going to be such an amazing experience. We are going to have a moment of worship and praise and worship, and we welcome all of you guys, and I hope to see you guys on the 10th. Oh yes, you can get the tickets at Ticket Yetu. Kindly go to ticketyetu.com. You'll be able to see tickets for the Africa Worship Experience. Regular tickets are going for 1,500. VIP tickets are going for 3,000. VVIP are going for 8,000. And we have a first class VVIP going for only 20,000 shillings. So you guys are most than welcome. Thank you.
All right, and now, ladies and gentlemen, the time we've all been waiting for. Please put your hands together and welcome one of Africa's greatest worship leaders and worship singers. Give it up for Israel. Yeah.
Hello everyone. I'm really happy to be here today, and I'm very thankful, very grateful for all of you, for everybody who have been participating in all of this. This is just amazing, and I don't know how to explain it. I'm just a nobody who have accepted God's calling on his life and being available and ready to serve. And seeing you all of here come here to support this, it's just amazing. Thank you, EAWE, and thank you for everybody who has been participating with them to make sure this goes as planned. And I'm here, I'm ready to start. And I can't wait to see you on Saturday. Have the best moment of worship.
Thank you. In typical Kenyan version, I know there are 1 million questions from that, but maybe we'll start with the Rwandan media who are here so that you can take the questions in Rwandanese, and then we can continue. So, where is the...
Tala?
Yeah.
Murakoze cyane, nitwa Mbadi Emmanuel, wakuriye Media Line. Mfite ibibazo bike bitari byinshi. Icyambere ndakibaza Israel Mbonyi, ni gute wiyumva gutaramira mu gihugu cya Kenya? Ntekereza ko ufitemo abafana benshi cyangwa se abakunzi benshi bakunda ibihangano byawe muri iki gihugu cya Kenya. Icya kabiri, nabaza ngo ni gute umanaginga social media zawe, umwihariko YouTube. Haba hari comment runaka wakiraho yigeze igukoraho ikagusigaramo ku buryo igufasha ya kwezi yarenze kugira ngo igufashe mu ndirimbo mu bihangano bikurikira? Nimba hari ubutumwa wakuye kuri YouTube butuma wiyumva ushobora kubukuramo umuziki. Ikibazo cya gatatu, nabaza ngo se mufite hari collab mwamuteganya hano mu gihugu cya Kenya, mu bahanzi ba Kenya? Hari collab mwamufitanye n'abahanzi ba hano muri Kenya wenda nyuma y'iki gitaramo? Icyanyuma rero nabaza ngo gutaramira muri Kenya ese kuburi hano ni expectation ufite wadusangiza, watwizeza kuri uyu munsi wo kuwa gatandatu cyangwa se Saturday kugira ngo utumire abantu bakurikira uyu munsi kuza bimeze? Murakoze cyane.
Yes, thank you so much. Do you have another question? Do you have another question? So we take all of them together.
Yes.
And then,
Urakoze, reka tukwegereze hano mu gihugu cya Kenya ka kominote nkuru ivuga ururimi rw'ikinyarwanda, aho ntabwo nsize bene wacu b'abarundi ndetse n'abanyamurenge bari muri kino gihugu. Kuri Mike nitwa Intore y'Ibwami, ni kuri Sultan TV. Mfite ikibazo kimwe. Mu bwoko bwacu tumaze igihe tuzi abantu bazi kuririmba neza ndetse n'abanditsi beza. Ntabwo Israel Mbonyi ari we wa mbere. Niki waba warakoresheje kugira ngo ubashe kumaintaininga platform yawe mu gukorera Imana ndetse no mu buryo butari kure cyane na brand paraporo
n'abandi bakubanjirije mu kibuga ndavuga muri worship. Sinzi niba wumvishije ikibazo.
I'll need someone to remind me the message because I'll need the answer.
No, just one. So we just take the last one, then you repeat a bit.
Well, a very good afternoon to you. That is Israel Mbonyi, the famous Rwandese gospel singer who has landed in Kenya. He's known for his hit song, Miscellaneous naye. He will be performing live on the 10th of August. That is this particular Saturday at the Ulinzi Sports Complex. Of course, people are urged to buy their tickets early so that they be able to get access to that particular stadium and be able to enjoy the music by these particular artists. Of course, TV47 and Radio 47 by extension Cape Media is the official media partners, where we ensure that we get to entertain you and inform you on everything that is happening, including bringing such high-profile people into our country. And of course, you can trust on TV47 to be at the forefront in these particular, in these types of situations. And now, on the 25th of June 2024 marks the day in which the political structural integrity of the country was shaken. Long story short, it is what informed President William Ruto's decision to drop the Finance Act 2024, which was the architect of protests that happened in the country for the better part of June and July. Also, the president did fire his entire cabinet, which led to him coming up with a word that has been synonymous with his speech, that is the broad-based government. The president reached out to the opposition and he did mention a couple of names from the ODM party that will help him serve in the cabinet, which he has reconstituted after firing his first cabinet. Tomorrow is the 8th of August 2024, a day that is anticipated to be a day of demonstrations. However, that which we are expecting is that people to go on the streets because of some of the issues that had been put across by the movement led by Gen Z. Now, President William Ruto's broad-based government way of forming a new cabinet has entered phase 2. Phase 1 did complete with the president naming the nominees, and they went to Parliament for vetting. Today, we are tabling the report on the vetting that happened to the 21 individuals who will be taking up responsibility of leading in the cabinet. So let's cross over to the National Assembly and let's listen in to what is happening at this particular moment.
And what the committee has done must be taken very serious, Mr. Speaker. The committee spent many man-hours to check on the suitability of every candidate, Mr. Speaker. And the committee is not doing any victimization. The committee is not doing any victimization. The committee did their work in accordance with the Constitution and the laws of the country, Mr. Speaker. The Parliamentary Approval Act, Mr. Speaker. If a nominee is incompetent, the committee cannot say anything other than that he is incompetent or she is incompetent, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker.
Order. Member for Order. Take your seat, Junet. Member for Keyo South. I'll give you an opportunity to have your say. This is not a public rally. This is the National Assembly of Kenya. The right for everybody to say what they are saying corresponds with the right for everybody to listen to those who are saying. Just listen to your colleagues, you'll also be listened to in the same decorum.
Mr. Speaker, when we say as a committee that someone is not suitable for this job, we are not imputing any improper motive of that person, Mr. Speaker. We are just saying that person is not suitable for this job. He can do another job elsewhere, Mr. Speaker. And Mr. Speaker, we are not here in this National Assembly to defend and protect anyone. We are just here to say the truth as it is, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I want to say that the committee found majority of the nominees to be suitable for the job they have been given. Mr. Speaker, it is this House that can hold people accountable. We cannot hold members accountable outside this House, Mr. Speaker. It is our constitutional mandate to hold people accountable here, Mr. Speaker. What is the point of sending someone to a job and after a year and 2 years again, you have to recruit again at your fresh, Mr. Speaker, like what is happening now, Mr. Speaker? We must take our job very serious this time because the ministers that we vetted at the beginning of this term were assumed that they are going to finish their term up to the election, Mr. Speaker. But they couldn't do. Out of 22 cabinet ministers who are in office, almost over 10 of them are not in office as we speak today, Mr. Speaker. 10 of them are at home.
Give him another 5 minutes.
More than half of the cabinet that was vetted by this House, Mr. Speaker, at the beginning of the term are at home. They have all been dropped because of reasons, incompetency, and other issues. So, Mr. Speaker, it is the prerogative of this House to decide who is going to be approved and who is not going to be approved. But we must take the report of the committee very serious, because the committee did public participation. They interviewed the nominees, they listened to them, they looked at their CVs, they looked at their compliance documents, they looked at their physical appearance, they looked at their mental appearance, everything, Mr. Speaker. So, Mr. Speaker, I urge this House, let us not belittle the report of the committee. The committee report is as important as what we are going to decide here, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, the other issue I want to say is that we looked very much on the issue of integrity and accountability, Mr. Speaker. There were allegations that have been raised by certain members. There were issues that were raised against, for example, a nominee, Honorable Oparanya, Mr. Speaker. Issues of corruption, and we clarified, we said that the EACC has written, and the Director of Public Prosecution wrote to Parliament and said that there are no charges against that nominee, Mr. Speaker. And based on that, we made a decision. And himself, he appeared there and said, if there is any iota of evidence on him, on allegations of corruption, he is willing to resign, even if he's appointed, Mr. Speaker. Issues of drugs were raised about Hassan Ali Joe. The Minister for Interior, by then George Saitoti, came here and brought a report against him. Later, a report was brought to Parliament a week later that cleared him, Mr. Speaker. We looked into all those issues, Mr. Speaker, and we cleared all those people. Issues of opulence, sideshow, what's called arrogance, and sort of leveled against Honorable Murkomen. We looked at him, he came with a tie and a suit that did not look very expensive for that day. He should not put on another one going forward. He should continue with the same ones that he came to the committee, Mr. Speaker. And it was clear of those points, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, we looked at the issues of commitment to public service, Mr. Speaker. Most of the nominees showed high level of commitment to public duty, Mr. Speaker. You could see the way they were answering the questions, and they said that they are willing and ready to serve the country, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, in conclusion, I want to say this. There is nothing that stops this House to impeach any CS who does not perform his functions again. That responsibility again is with us here, Mr. Speaker. And the day a CS nominee does not perform his functions in accordance with the Constitution and in accordance with the wishes of Kenyans, we have the responsibility again to remove him from office and to impeach him. Lastly, Mr. Speaker, I want to urge the nominees that once you assume office, Mr. Speaker, kindly have in mind what Kenyans expect of you, Mr. Speaker. We interviewed the nominee for Interior, Mr. Speaker, and we told him there are many complaints about deaths in this country when people are demonstrating. He has to make sure, he has to put into consideration the sanctity of life, Mr. Speaker, that Kenyans must not die for exercising their freedoms and rights, Mr. Speaker. Demonstration is allowed in the country, but also the rights of other Kenyans must be respected when somebody is doing a demonstration, Mr. Speaker. So we have looked at everything and everything that is possible, and we have concluded that 19 nominees are suitable for office. Mr. Speaker, what I am proud of today, Mr. Speaker, are my colleagues whom I was with them in the same party, who have joined now the executive, Mr. Speaker. It has proved to me that the Raila Odinga Academy School of Politics is the best school of politics in this country, Mr. Speaker. Look at the kind of nominees they have donated to the executive, Mr. Speaker. Hassan Ali Joho, Oparanya, Upeo and Mbadi, Mr. Speaker. Those are the best nominees this country can have, Mr. Speaker. The best experts this country can have, Mr. Speaker. When they appeared before the committee, Mr. Speaker, the committee was perplexed. They said, we didn't know ODM have this kind of expertise, Mr. Speaker. We thought ODM is just hecklers and people who throw stones, people who make noise in this town, Mr. Speaker. But now we have proved to Kenyans and to the public and to this House that the best expertise is found in ODM, Mr. Speaker. With those few remarks, Mr. Speaker, I second, Mr. Speaker. Thank you very much.
Order. Honorable members. Order. Take your seat. Honourable members, I now propose the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments and its second report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment the offices of Cabinet Secretaries, laid on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 7th August 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House, 1, approves the appointment of the following persons as Cabinet Secretaries. Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, EGH, Ministry of Interior and National Administration. We are not calling a vote. I'm proposing a question. Dr. Deborah Mulongo Barasa, Minister of Health. Honorable Alice Wahome, EGH, Minister of Trade, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Julius Migos Ogamba, EBS, Minister of Education. Honorable Rosalinda Soipan Tuya, EGH, Minister of Defense. Dr. Andrew Mwihia Karanja, Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development. Honorable Aden Bare Duale, EGH, Minister of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Mr. Eric Murithi Muga, Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Mr. Davis Chirchir, EGH, Minister of Roads and Transport. Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu, Minister of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy. Honorable John Bandi Ngongo, EGH, the National Treasury and Economic Planning. Honorable Salim Mvuria Mugala, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. Ms. Rebecca Miano, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Tourism and Wildlife. Honorable James Upeo Wandai, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Energy and Petroleum. Honorable Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Honorable Ali Hassan Ali Joho, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. Honorable Dr. Alfred Nganga Mutua, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME Development. Honorable Justin Bedan Njoka Muturi, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Public Service and Human Capital Development. And Roman 2 rejects the appointment of Ms. Stella Soy Langat as the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage. Washira Karani.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker.
It's called to speak. You have all agreed to talk for 3 minutes.
Correct.
So compose your thoughts and deliver your point in 3 minutes.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I want to support the report by the committee on the nominations of various persons to the cabinet. I am particularly impressed, Mr. Speaker, by the first candidate, the nominee for internal security. I want to declare here in this parliament, I come from Laikipia, where in the past we have been having a lot of incidents of insecurity. Our people have been living in hell. But since that person was appointed cabinet secretary in 2022, he has calmed the area. In my area, Mr. Speaker, people used to be killed, animals stolen, women raped, others maimed, but things have changed. I'm sure even the members who come from North Rift will agree with me that things have changed in our region. This is one cabinet secretary, Mr. Speaker, who speaks very little, but does a lot. In the past, a previous government, we had in a similar position somebody who was very, very boastful. He would talk a lot, he would shout, but eventually he was doing very little. Today things have changed. I remember some time back, Mr. Speaker, the previous cabinet secretary in the previous government came to my place. People had been killed, and he talked very, very, very tough. He said he will bring us commandos who will be working with us there, and such incidents will never be repeated. But the same night, Mr. Speaker, when the cabinet secretary took his plane and went back to Nairobi, bandits descended on our area. They killed 7 people. They carried a lot of livestock. Today things are different. I therefore support Mr. Speaker. Thank you.
Wilberforce Oundo.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand here to support the report of the Committee on Appointments. Honorable Speaker, while I have many reservations on some of the nominees that were proposed in this report, but since the committee mandated by this Parliament and the Constitution of Kenya has done its job, it will be utterly unfair to contradict what they have done. Honorable Speaker, of course there are members who have been proposed with dubious academic papers, light academic qualifications, but that's what the appointing authority wanted. And I want to quote what Honorable John Mbadi said here when we were vetting the first cabinet, that since he wanted a skunk, let's give him the skunk, and I hope he'll not have to come back again seeking another line of support. Honorable Speaker, on the rejected committee members, having read through the report, Honorable Speaker, from paragraph 1065 all the way to the end, Honorable Speaker, nobody has got any issues about the qualification of the nominee. But look at the answers given in respect of very pertinent issues concerning gender, Honorable Speaker. I concur with the committee that she is not qualified for this particular assignment, and it will be probably prudent for the appointing authority to consider other assignments. And I would actually suggest, Honorable Speaker, since she has extensive knowledge in public administration, probably it would be prudent for the President to swap her with Bedan Muturi, so that he can go and handle that particular aspect, and so that Bedan Muturi can actually come to gender. Because, Honorable Speaker, there is a very growing misconception, Honorable Speaker, that gender is about women. Gender is about both men and men and women. Gender is about boys and girls. Why is it all the time, Honorable Speaker, when they appoint a gender CS, they only look for a woman? So that's why we continue to marginalize the boy child, we continue to frustrate the men, and that's why you see there's mental health issues in this country. It's time, Honorable Speaker, if we talk about gender, let's be gender sensitive, let's not be gender discriminative. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, we are vetting these cabinet secretaries to go and serve the people of Kenya as provided in the Constitution. Yes, they serve at the pleasure of the President, but they must not be serving the people of Kenya. And the people of Kenya are represented by this President who are here. We hope they will not go to the office and block members of Parliament from accessing to present issues affecting the people of Kenya. With those few remarks, Honorable Speaker, I support the report.
William Kamket.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the report of the committee. Mr. Speaker, I want to say this, that the President took the opportunity to reorganize his cabinet mid-term, and that the opportunity that was presented to the President is an opportunity, Mr. Speaker, that was caused by some riots in this country. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that His Excellency the President is a lucky man. Because, Mr. Speaker, if the happenings that happened in this country did not happen the way they happened, Mr. Speaker, perhaps His Excellency would have limped with the same group towards a very dangerous road ahead as we move towards the next election. So I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that the appointments of the members of cabinet, that includes the members of the opposition, is something that has given this country a fresh impetus and a fresh start. And the President has demonstrated that indeed he listens, Mr. Speaker, and that, Mr. Speaker, that he has a big heart. That even in victory, Mr. Speaker, he has been magnanimous and has offered an olive branch to the members of the opposition to come and serve together with him in the same cabinet. And that demonstrates one thing, Mr. Speaker, that we are all Kenyans. At the end of the day, even if we agree or disagree on anything or on any matter, we are all Kenyans. And that there is only one country that we all belong to. This is the Republic of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to echo what the Honorable Member for Laikipia West said. Mr. Speaker, I want to single out the nominee for Interior. I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that gentleman has done a good job in the North Rift. Where I come from, whatever measures he has put in place, I am happy, Mr. Speaker, that he has been given a second chance to come and finish the job he began. Mr. Speaker, sir, with those few remarks, I beg to support, Mr. Speaker.
Beatrice Elachi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I also rise to support the report with also a very heavy heart, Mr. Speaker, that it is always women who come are vetted and will always find themselves in the situation Zoe is finding herself. But having said that, Mr. Speaker, I think it is important to understand that we are coming from a very delicate situation. I want to appreciate all the nominees, and I just want to tell them this. You come at a time when Kenyans felt, those who have gone home became very proud, never understood who was at the gate, never understood whether they have challenges. They are human beings. Learn to appreciate your team, starting from even your T-girl, that you are able even just to ask, how is she or how is he? And Mr. Speaker, those are the few things, just small values that Kenyans feel, even us, that when you get a title, you get entitled and you think you have now become beyond the president. They should remember we have a president. They have gone to support the president. He has not appointed you to become another president in your ministry. He has appointed you to come and serve now his Kenyans. And therefore, Mr. Speaker, even as we say we have 3 minutes in this report, one thing I'll say, we have to change the Appointments Act and put in very serious questions that we need to ask this country. That when you come and say my wealth is this amount, it is always good to expound so that Kenyans don't start thinking, oh, you are doing tenders with government, oh, that is why you have made your money, or this. No, just expound and explain. But we cannot right now blame the nominees. We can only blame our act the way it is. And so it's important to really amend. We will want to know whether in the neighborhood that you stay, are you a member of the association within your neighborhood? How do you relate with your neighbors? Because you are coming to handle people. And that is the other thing Kenyans were really crying. So I support it, and I say it is time that they know it is time to work. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Rindikiri.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to associate myself with the report of the committee, and I say from the outlet, we need to support this report. Mr. Speaker, I have studied part of the report, and I've picked two reports I was very keen on, and one of them is the CS nominee for water, sanitation, and irrigation. Mr. Speaker, when we all watched Mr. Eric articulate the issues of water, I came to a conclusion that this is a nominee who is ready to study. It's a nominee who is ready, demonstrating the potential to learn more and to lead the ministry. Mr. Speaker, let this nominee be a good example to other young people who are professionals, who are ready to steer. He is not a pollutant candidate. I support that nomination. Mr. Speaker, I really truly identify myself with Professor Kindeki. Mr. Speaker, this is the CS who has put his life in danger. He has visited all the dangerous zones of this country. We know there are zones where the banditry, Al-Shabaab, etc., etc. Mr. Speaker, if one has demonstrated taking a risk, being in the combat front, Mr. Speaker, that is a very nice nomination. Mr. Speaker, he is a person who is available. When you call him, he turns your calls. Mr. Speaker, he writes back and says he is going to refer back. Mr. Speaker, this is one cabinet secretary who has welcomed members of parliament and the public in his office. I remember, Mr. Speaker, when the cattle wrestling became very intensive in Meru, he came to hold Balasas himself. He is one person, Mr. Speaker, who keeps his promises. Mr. Speaker, as we nominate, we want to enhance the position of this CS. Mr. Speaker, we need as a house to address the operation of the security system. The Inspector General of Police is a center of weakness. Mr. Speaker, we have to address that because many people see the weaknesses of Kentucky because of the weakness of the Inspector General. Mr. Speaker, with those few remarks, I support.
Zamzam.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na mimi niweze kuchangia mada ya leo ya mawaziri ambao wameweza kuteuliwa. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, kwanza natoa support yangu kubwa na kuweza kuwapongeza kamati ambayo iliwafanyia vetting. Mheshimiwa Spika, Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi leo nina furaha kubwa kuweza kusema kuwa tumepata waziri ambaye atatusaidia sana katika mining na blue economy. Mheshimiwa Spika.
Chonga.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I know the Parliament also gives us an opportunity to learn more about language. Is it in order for the member to use both Kiswahili and English? Because nataka kupongeza ile vetting. I think vetting is in English. Tungetaka kujua kwa Kiswahili. In Kiswahili, what is vetting, Mr. Speaker? So that we can learn more of what she has. Thank you, Speaker.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, zote lugha mbili zinakubalika katika taifa. Na Mheshimiwa Kenchonga, wakati tuna mada muhimu kama hii, sisi tumepata kiongozi jasiri sana. Wakati mwingine usinizuilie dadako kuzungumza na nitoa mastimu. Mheshimiwa Spika, napenda kusema kuwa Mheshimiwa
Mr. Speaker, I know my sister is a first timer. But what we know that, just a moment, what I know, you either express yourself in English or express yourself in Kiswahili, but you cannot mix the two, Mr. Speaker. And if that is the trajectory that is going to be, kindly, Mr. Speaker, give a ruling to the same.
Order, honorable members. Order. Order, honorable members. Order. Order, Owen Bayer. Take your seats. Honorable Chonga, linguistic development is not limited. You can when you contribute here, if you start in English, you must finish in English. If you start in Swahili, you can finish in Swahili. You must finish in Swahili. But in between, that's not what he's saying. Picking a word vetting and inserting it in a Kiswahili prose does not deviate from the norm of starting with one language and veering on. For the simple reason that we even have words like safari in English. It's a Swahili word. And you can be talking in English, say safari, and somebody stands up like Chonga and says you have gone into Kiswahili. So Mama Zamzam is perfectly in order. You never can tell in another 10 years, vetting might find itself in the kamusi ya Kiswahili.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika, na naomba dakika zangu 3. Mheshimiwa Spika, niweze kwanza kuchukua fursa hii kumpongeza Rais wa taifa hili Mheshimiwa William Samoei Ruto kuweza kutuchukulia ndugu yetu wa Pwani Hassan Ali Joho kama waziri wa madini na uchumi samawati. Mheshimiwa Spika, hii ni wizara ambayo imeshika sana sehemu kubwa na uchumi mkubwa wa taifa Mheshimiwa Spika. Na mimi naamini kuwa uwe weledi wake wa uongozi, vile tunavyomjua, ataweza kuhakikisha kuwa madini yanaleta faida kubwa sana katika taifa, na kuhakikisha kuwa wale watu wanaokaa sehemu ambayo tunatoa haya madini wanaweza kupata haki yao Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, kuna wakati katika taifa hili Mheshimiwa Hassan Ali Joho alikuwa kisimangwa, na mimi nataka nimpongeze kiongozi wa wengi kusema kuwa watoto wengi wako darasani Mheshimiwa Spika, na wengi kwa sababu ya ukosefu wa karo na mambo mengi ambayo yanawatoa darasani Mheshimiwa Spika, wengi hawakuweza kufanya vizuri katika masomo. Lakini hiyo haikuwa mwisho, na nimpongeze ndugu yangu Hassan Ali Joho, aliweza kuigeuza akaweza kujisomesha mwenyewe, na sasa anafanya masters Mheshimiwa Spika, na uhakika kuwa ataweza kufanya kazi kwa uweledi na kuongoza taifa la Kenya liweze kwenda mbele Mheshimiwa Spika. Mimi namuombea Mungu aweze kumtangulia mbele, na najua na nguvu na uwezo wa kuweza kufanya wizara ya madini na uchumi samawati uweze kuinuka Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, niongelee pia huyu dada yetu Mheshimiwa Stella ambaye ameweza kuwekwa kando Mheshimiwa Spika. Hii ni wizara ya kina mama, na wizara ya kina mama inataka kiongozi ambaye ama waziri ambaye anatuelewa zaidi kwa nini kwanza tulipata wizara hii. Mheshimiwa Spika, ilikuwa dhahiri kuwa dada yangu Stella hakuweza kuelewa hii docket ilikuwa inazungumzia nini Mheshimiwa Spika. Na ndio maana tunasema, najua ilikuwa inatolewa katika region tofauti, hata wale ambao wametoka kule waweza wakatuletea mama mwingine ambaye amepigwa msasa vizuri, anaweza kuhudumu katika hii wizara bila kuleta sintofahamu Mheshimiwa Spika. Kwa hiyo hii list nyingine yote mimi naisupport Mheshimiwa Spika, na napenda kusema Hassan Joho, chapa kazi, tuko nyuma yako. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Honorable McClap.
Mr. Speaker, first I rise to support the report of this committee. The question, Mr. Speaker, that we ask ourselves, did we see the vetting committee doing their job? Did they spend time looking and examining the suitability of these nominees? The answer is yes. I don't think in my own sense that the time you spend on Sunday when you are supposed to go to church was in vain. But it was a time to scrutinize people who will serve Kenya regardless of where they come from and their color and their religion. That is what you did on Sunday. Mr. Speaker, when nominees are vetted and brought to this House to be approved or disapproved, Mr. Speaker, once they get favor of this House and be appointed, Mr. Speaker, regardless of where they come from, they will serve all Kenyans, Mr. Speaker, regardless of their communities. I expected the CS for Treasury, one Honorable Mbadi, to serve the people of Kenya, including Baringo, where we did not have any minister, Mr. Speaker. We expect the Minister Joe to serve all Kenyans, Mr. Speaker. So ministers that shall get the favor of this House, Mr. Speaker, shall diligently serve the President, the appointing authority, and the people of Kenya, Mr. Speaker. That is underlined, Mr. Speaker. They are not supposed to serve their party leaders, but serve the presidency and the appointing authority and the people of Kenya. That is supposed to be underlined, Mr. Speaker. Number two, Mr. Speaker, is that ministers that showed performance were rewarded. I come from a county that has been rampaged by banditry, and one Professor Kindiki is a professor of law, but he has excelled in security, Mr. Speaker. Today, the people of Baringo are able to sleep because of how much time Professor Kindiki spent in the bush. In fact, most of the time, you find Kindiki across Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I also call upon the ministers, if they are in favor, Mr. Speaker, of this House, that they need to understand there are technocrats who work in the ministries, not to overrun them, not to assume the members of parliament whom we spend a lot of time approving them here and later on try to disobey what we present to them, Mr. Speaker. We are the people's representative. We represent the interest of the people. Any member of parliament that will go to any office of the cabinet secretary, it is no longer business as usual, as you used to do. It is now business to serve the people of Kenya in a manner that will please Kenya and bring prosperity to this nation. This nation was living, Mr. Speaker, but an opportunity has come to correct all the wrong things, including opulence, so that Kenyans will get people who serve them. Mr. Speaker, finally, Mr. Speaker, the government is big. The single
Give him 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker,
1 minute.
Government is big. I ask the appointing authority, find favor, because this lady did not, during the vetting, did not communicate properly, and suitability was not correct. But the appointing authority, find favor to place this lady in any place in government, Mr. Speaker, so that the people where they come from, where they have seen hope, will have hope and continue. And finally, ask the appointing authority, find favor and appoint someone from Baringo, a lady, so that this country can move forward. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Adan Kainan.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, Kenya is a representative democracy where the current constitution vests or confers powers to each of the three arms of government. Mr. Speaker, the reason why under the current constitution, pursuant to Article 152, the President nominates, Parliament vets and approves through the participation of the public. Mr. Speaker, what the committee has done is to put into context the constitutional role of each of the three arms of government. Mr. Speaker, having said this, we need to reflect on what has happened to the cabinet that has been dissolved. Mr. Speaker, some of the things that I have noted, and I know you have been around and I've been around, some of the things that I have noted is when you are appointed to a public office, civility is not a sign of cowardice. One of the things that was missing in a just dissolved government was that civility, humility, and humbleness. What I want to ask, to the extent that I saw one of the lady ministers, former, always tasked her bodyguard to carry her bag. I want to ask and plead with my good sisters, in the African culture, that is an abomination. It's an abomination and should not be allowed. It's actually an abuse of office. Mr. Speaker, having said that, if you see the members here, Mr. Speaker, Article 1 of the Constitution, vests powers.
Lillian Kogo, what's the problem?
Thank you so much, Honorable Speaker. I want to bring it to the attention of my senior that when somebody holds a bag for a woman, it has nothing to do with culture. And we are not going to attack the person of women at their place of work. Men, Honorable Speaker, men don't carry bags, women carry bags. And it could have just been in a state of emergency. So as we discuss the approval of this particular Honorable Kenyans, let us leave women alone.
Honorable Lillian Kogo, that is hypersensitivity, honestly. Because Honorable Kainan did not say men are given bags by women to hold. He said women giving men bags to carry for them because they are their security, and he thinks that is not right. That's his opinion. Go on. And I don't see that as an assault on women.
Thank you. I really respect my good sir. Mr. Speaker, the reason why I say this is because we are Africans. And each one of us, the ladies must be respected, the men must also be respected. The role of a bodyguard is clearly defined in their job description. It's not to carry the bag of anybody, but to take care of the security of that particular individual. Mr. Speaker, they say this. The reason why we have this, and I want to urge those nominees who are likely to approve in the next few, please humble yourselves. This house should not be a conveyor belt for CSs. When we vet them and approve them, we should hold them to the highest standards of accountability. That is the only way the role of this August House will be respected. It's not just a matter of approval, Mr. Speaker. The group who are there, who just, some of them, Mr. Speaker, it was difficult to fix an appointment. It was difficult to get them on telephone. It was difficult to see them. They're like in another world. Once the group who will be approved today, please desist. Otherwise, we'll invoke the provisions of the law to bring you down just the way we approve you today. Mr. Speaker, having said that, the reason why we have this is because we failed in our constitutional pursuit. Mr. Speaker, I want to ask these members, as we reflect on the dynamics, the changing dynamics, can we think of the Bomas draft? And do you know the provisions? Why did we lose that sanity? What happened? Why did we throw away the role of the member of parliament? I want you to think as we do this, because Kenya is a very dynamic country. Can we think of bringing back the Bomas draft so that the role of the member of parliament, as clearly enshrined in Article 1, is manifested in the management of our nation day-to-day activities? Otherwise, as we are floating. The Speaker, finally, as I conclude this, we have a country. Once you have been appointed, and I want to proudly say, when the young Hassan Joho was elected in 2007, he was my vice chair in the Committee of Defense and Foreign Relations. And I can tell you, regardless of anything that has been said, Hassan Joho remained a resilient, a highly focused, and a well-placed individual in anything that he touched. Even during when he was my vice chair, that is one thing that he clearly demonstrated. But once you are appointed, you are no longer a cost Kingsby, Madam Zamzam. He remains the property of the 50 million Kenyans. And I think now he should move from the coastal politics and contribute to the national well-being of Kenya. Mr. Speaker, for those who have said that the group who have been appointed are products of particular school of thought, I agree. Each one of us remains persuaded by particular group in particular political thought. Mr. Speaker, that's notwithstanding. Once you have been nominated, once you have been approved, you remain the property of the Republic of Kenya, and wherever you are, whichever ministry, serve the interests of the people of Kenya. And I support the list. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Nyakundi. Nyakundi. You log in and then you leave. Member for Turkana, is it sent? Member for Nicholas, that's Nicholas Gigor, member for Turkana East.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this chance to add my voice in support of this list and the report of the committee which you shared yourself. Mr. Speaker, I've gone through the list, the reports, and what I'm seeing from the report is that all the nominees which the committee they have passed on and brought the report this house, they are Kenyans who, according to the report, will be ready to serve in the respective ministries they have been nominated to head. Mr. Speaker, I will just particularly want to go to specific nominees of different ministries, starting with the nominee for Ministry for Interior. Mr. Speaker, I would like to echo the report from by the committee on this particular nominee, that this man, after being given this position in the first place. And me coming from the region, which is termed as the bandit zone, that is the North Rift. Mr. Speaker, Professor Kindiki has done a great job in the North Rift. And since the time he was given that position in the last appointment, Mr. Kindiki has done a good job in the North Rift. And given this time also to continue in the same docket, Mr. Speaker, Mr. Kindiki is going to give the people of the North Rift what they have been looking for all these years when it comes to the matters of security. Mr. Speaker, when we talk again, when we look at the list again, this lady, which it has been given the docket of the Minister for Defense. Mr. Speaker, why this lady, she has been in the first place and coming from the pastoral community. You know, we pastoralists, we do our job without being even, we don't look for supervision. And I believe this lady, she is going to do a good job in this docket and is going to show the communities and the countries that she is the right person for that position. And also the Minister for Environment, Mr. Adam Duale. I think now he's in the...
Member for Moyale.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. First, I want to congratulate the President of the Republic of Kenya for making a wise decision to get people from across the country into his cabinet. Mr. Speaker, imagine a Turkana woman will sit in the cabinet of Kenya. That one, Mr. Speaker, for a long time, the Ministry of Health has been suffering from non-medics at the helm. Today, we have a qualified, competent physician who is going to head the Ministry of Health. And that person is even a female for that matter. That is the biggest achievement for the Republic of Kenya and for the medical fraternity, that a medical doctor for a long time is going to sit in the cabinet and advance the decisions for the country. In the board, Mr. Speaker, I see an opportunity both for the profession to influence leadership. As a doctor, she's technically sound and willing to learn and work with the team, very highly competent medical team that will advance the healthcare system in the country to a higher level. I think through her, I see an opportunity that we shall be able to achieve the universal health coverage. For the other ministers, there are ministers who have been away from their offices. They have been operating from private offices. They do not answer people's phone calls. And I think it's an opportunity for them to rethink about what they are doing and change their standard. But for the president, I repeat, the president has actually destroyed the opposition. He has brought the country into one table where we shall all work together as a team. And with those, I support the committee report. For the lady who was rejected, as a gynecologist, I have a sympathy that I wish she's not rejected. As a woman, as a doctor who looks after the health welfare of women, that woman is highly qualified. She is director of administration in Office Interior. Why should she not be able to perform well at the interview? So I know the president knows when he picked her, and I hope she'll be chosen.
Member for Malava.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also arise to support this report and thank the President for what he has done for this country. in my opinion, these persons who have been nominated actually are competent enough to serve the country. And I would like to urge these particular persons that they should serve the country and particularly help the president. You know, some of the CSS who have been dropped, Mr. Speaker, they could not articulate government policies, government programs, and I would urge these ones, because they are competent enough to ensure that they've done this to assist the president. Mr. Speaker, I want also to specifically appreciate the president for nominating 2 more persons from Western Kenya to serve in his cabinet. This is Oparanya and Mulongo. And we appreciate so much because now we have 3 of them in the cabinet, in addition to the Prime Cabinet Secretary. And we support the president. We appreciate the president. It's only that I may also wish to ask Oparanya. He has been outstanding in his performance. When he was Minister for Planning, he did so well. When he was governor, he was ranked topmost. When he was a member of parliament, his CDF was ranked the best in the country. I would urge him, because when it comes to formation of cooperatives in Western Kenya, they are weak. Those cooperatives are not so many in Western Kenya. The people in Western Kenya do not really embrace cooperatives. I would urge him, as he serves the entire country, he also focuses so much on Western Kenya to ensure that he has sensitized the people on the importance of cooperatives. He has sensitized the people on the value of the hustler fund, which many other communities have embraced and really benefiting from it. I want also to urge that the new CSS who have been nominated, they actually consult a lot from the CSS who have been reappointed in the cabinet, because those CSS who are doing so well, and I believe if this can consult them, quite a lot will happen in the country. Mr. Speaker, some of the CSS who have been dropped were so arrogant, and I would urge the present one now, they become down to earth in terms of their service, and they should know their ministries quite well, so that even when they appear before departmental committees, they know what they are talking about, they know what they are presenting before the committee in terms of their ministries. Otherwise, I support this report. Thank you.
Opondo Kaluma.
Honorable Speaker, I thank you very much. Honorable Speaker, before the nomination of the last batch of the nominees herein, I spoke here very passionately about the need for the appointing authority to always comply with the provisions of Article 232 of the Constitution, in particular sub-Article 1, G, H, and I. Honorable Speaker, when I spoke so, I did not know who the President had under consideration. But I was speaking because when you come from Homa Bay across Migori to Nyamira and Kisii, we had only 1 CS in Machogu formally. And we had only 1 PS in Raymond Omolo for Interior and National Security, for whom we had thanked the President. Honorable Speaker, allow me therefore to start by thanking His Excellency the President for not just ensuring ethnic and regional balance, but for remembering minorities living within Luo Nyanza. Honorable Speaker, it is the first time a person from Luo Nyanza region, not necessarily a Luo, has been nominated to be appointed, if this House approves, as the Cabinet Secretary in charge of Treasury. Honorable Speaker, it is also the first time we are having that ministry and also a person in charge of the energy docket, if approved, from that same region.
Yeah, order. Yes, Carol Omondi. Service time.
To profile the Sudanese people as not necessarily Luos.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Karoli is a Suba, and Subas are minorities living within Luo Nyanza. They are not Luos. That is the fact of the matter. And so let me make that very clear. But I'm thanking the President because that appointment is within Luo region. Honorable Speaker, that in addition to the other nominations and of people whose integrity, whose competences we have tested in this House, make me very pleased. I also want to thank the President for nominating the former governor for Kakamega County, which was the best in terms of performance of counties, the Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya and Governor Joe. Honorable Speaker, let me end by thanking, as I thank the President, for appointing the Honorable Murkomen to the Ministry of Sports. You know, we forget Kenyans. But this was our best striker in Bunge Football Club, position 9. And I'm not worried at all that he's going to do very well. Honorable Speaker, having said that, let me make a comment on one thing that is very important. Honorable Speaker, the Committee on Appointments is the most powerful committee of this House. It is a committee chaired by none other than the Speaker of the National Assembly, who is the third in ranking in government. Honorable Speaker, when you look at this list, there are people who have been politicians as MPs, as governors, or have been ministers before having undergone vetting, except only 3. Honorable Speaker, you may therefore forgive those who never appeared to be well composed before the committee. Honorable Speaker, you know Dr. Barasa is my family doctor. I saw her look at you and she was very shaken before the members initially for the first 30 minutes. But you saw how she got composure as the vetting went on. Honorable Speaker, this lady called Stella Soilangat. This lady served as a divisional officer, assistant county commissioner in my area. This lady served as an assistant commissioner, county commissioner in my area. Let us forgive if she appears before you, the Honorable Speaker, with these serious members, Honorable Ichungu Abrejunet. Let us not judge her on failure to define one word called femicide and those others. This lady will deliver. And therefore I support this Honorable Speaker, but I'm praying for a rejection or a disapproval of this part and its amendment so that this lady may also be included. Honorable Speaker, in the first Parliament, we rejected Phyllis Kandie. And she performed very well, Malonza. Now it is this lady. What is our issue with the ladies that every vetting, at least some woman must be rejected? Honorable Speaker, I pray this amendment be made. Otherwise, I'm grateful.
DK.
Okay, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I want to set the record straight that I support the report of the Committee on Appointment with reservations on the rejection of Stella Langat. As we have heard, the lady has been a director at the Interior State Department, and the fact that maybe during that day she didn't wake up properly so that she can be able to answer the questions does not necessitate us negating, because I also followed her very closely and I can tell that she spoke very good English and she never spoke Kalenjin throughout the interview. So I want to urge this House, that as we support our men and women who will be our cabinet secretaries by tomorrow, let us bring an amendment so that the way we supported CS Malonza, we also seek the indulgence of this House so that we can be able to save this very beautiful soul. Because in our Kalenjin culture, they say that during an initiation ceremony, when a young man or a young woman just comes uninvited and he sees the ceremony, then it follows that she or he has to be initiated. So I also dare say that given that this beautiful lady has seen the ceremony, let us allow her to serve, and from the service we can determine whether she is able to serve or not. As I finish, I want to support the nominees, especially my chair for PAC, Honorable Mbadi.
Order, DK. There's a point of order from Wamumbi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want Honorable DK to clarify whether he is supporting the lady because she is beautiful or whether he is supporting her because of her capacity. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
I think the lady, I know her, she has a very beautiful brain, she is elegant, and she can perform. So, so as I finish, I know my friend Honorable Mbadi, Chirchir, Honorable Murkomen, and all the other nominees are going to perform wonders. The only thing we urge the CSS, let them avoid opulence as much as possible, because that is one of the issues that the Gen Z raised, and we don't want to see it going forward. Thank you very much. I support the committee's report.
Naisula Lesuda.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I do not want to belabor on the points that honorable members have already talked on or talked about. And one of them is what Honorable McLeod said, that the CSS who will be approved by this House will not be serving their communities or their regions or their political parties. Because I wonder where other communities who have never had a cabinet secretary in this country, when they will ever be given an opportunity to show their competence and also suitability to serve. And so the CS nominees, we asked them whether they will serve their communities, and all of them told us no. And so I do not expect the members of parliament in this House to go and hold the CSs once they're in office hostage. Let the CSs work for all of us and for all the people of this country. Secondly, Mr. Speaker, I asked Honorable Mbadi the question whether he's a skunk, because the last time he called all the nominees the skunk and he gave the president. He told me, you will judge me whether I am a skunk once I'm in the office according to my work. I want to say and to tell Honorable Mbadi and all the nominees, if this House approve you, Naisula and many people in this House will hold you to account to all the things that you told Kenyans during the vetting process. And so we will do our work as opposition. And I've had also some people here saying, oh, we are now one in government, there is no opposition. I want to tell you that some of us who are elected in the opposition will do our work. When the government does something good, we will say you have done well. When you have not, we will reject. I also want to call upon Kenyans that please let us also give His Excellency the President time to work. He was elected for 5 years. If you do not like him, please strategize how you will remove him through the constitutional means in 2027. Beat him at the ballot. That is what I also wanted to say. The CSS to do their work, members of parliament to do their work, the president to be given time to do his work. If he fails, we go that route constitutionally. Because if we go the anarchy way, you have seen Khartoum, you've seen Somalia. Even as an opposition member of parliament, I wouldn't want us to go that way. I would want also to say two things, Mr. Speaker. We will hold people like Honorable Kindiki. We have said Professor has done a very good job, but issues of abductions, issues of killing people also has to stop, even in our areas where we come from, Mr. Speaker. Finally, the issue of saying that even if a CS is weak, should be given a strong PS. The PS does not earn double money to do a CS's work and a PS. The CS to do their work of policy, leave.
Member for Murang'a County. Give the mic to Betty Minor. You are switching the mic in the wrong places. Clark, what's the problem?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I rise to support the nominees, but Mr. Speaker, this time round, we have to be very, very clear as Parliament. We have not come to support leaders, to support regional politics and to support regional development, but to support every Kenyan at the national level. Mr. Speaker, we have had a problem of supporting leaders in this nation, and then the retreat in political and regional cocoons, supporting ethnic politics, and it has been a problem to all of us. Mr. Speaker, allow me to single out one Professor Kinduki. In the past, I have not been his great fan, but recently, I am one of his greatest fans. Professor Kithure Kindiki expressed a lot of wisdom and a lot of brains when he was doing his interview, Mr. Speaker. Previously, he did a lot of work to support this government, and he has been on record. He's not a regional leader, but he's a national leader. Mr. Speaker, we want to urge that this parliament, we are a national parliament, and we can only support national leaders, but not regional leaders or leaders who want to retreat to village cocoons. So, Mr. Speaker, I rise to support the nominees. Thank you.
Thank you. Makali Mulu.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want also to add my voice to this important debate. And I will say I'm supporting the report, but with a number of reservations. The first one, Honorable Speaker, is the issue of regional balancing. Honorable Speaker, you have heard a number of members saying they don't know whether they will be able, when they will be able to get a cabinet secretary. And it is important that, Honorable Speaker, even as you continue appointing people to this important office, that regional balancing is ensured. And more so, the issue of disability, Honorable Speaker. I was very keen looking at who's been vetted, and I still think as a country, we have a lot to do in the area of disability, Honorable Speaker. For purposes of inclusion, because most Kenyans are saying there is a problem with inclusion, I think it's important to bring these brothers and sisters of ours to some of these senior positions. The other issue, Honorable Speaker, which I want to mention, Honorable Speaker, I've looked at the report very quickly, and the comments by the DPP and the comments by the EACC, Honorable Speaker, to me is a bit worrying. That the DPP comes and says he has no case with a particular nominee, but the EACC says they have an issue. These are departments of the same government. Honorable Speaker, there is no way both of them can be saying the truth. One must be saying the truth, the other one must be lying to Kenyans. And it is important, Honorable Speaker, when these cases come up to a FETI committee like what you are sharing, Honorable Speaker, that we allow time to sort out these issues. Kenyans are not stupid to believe one office and not another one. When the DPP says he has no case to answer, and the ACC says they have a case to answer, it's a problem, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the other matter is, we have gotten some members of the minority being appointed to the majority. Honorable Speaker, the truth of the matter is, we cannot have the majority being also in the minority. If you decide to be in the majority, please switch from the minority so that we improve oversight of this House. Honorable Speaker, it's not going to make sense to have watchdog committees of this House being chaired by people who claim to be in the minority when we know they are in the majority, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, it is very important that we get these things right. The issue of wealth declaration, Honorable Speaker, I've seen a number of members saying appreciation of property and assets. Honorable Speaker, it is very important that such matters we do much more work to determine how this wealth changed over such a short time, Honorable Speaker. I was asking myself, if I worked for 30 years and I've made 200
Osoro.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also rise to support the report by the committee. But I also want to single out some few nominees that I observed 1, 2, or 3 things and learned something. Honorable Speaker, the nomination of the Honorable Ali Hassan Joho is an inspiration to so many young people out there who may have lost hope. That it really doesn't matter where you come from, how you scored in the grades that you got in high school. If you persist and persevere, you will achieve your dreams. So, Honorable Speaker, this really should be a great inspiration. And even as I say that, Honorable Speaker, I'll also make on a light note and say those who are actually saying and talking about the opulence on some nominees or some former CSS, who is like the Honorable Onesmus Kipchumba Murkomen. I don't know how you'll talk about the Honorable Ali Hassan Joho, who also has a taste for good things. And this should actually go out there in public, that people should know, and every person outside there should know that you are not poor because somebody else is rich. You can actually learn something from a person instead of actually feeling bad that, okay, you are wearing this shirt, or you are having a very expensive watch, you are putting on a very expensive watch because you took my money. Which money? I mean, people should be made to understand that people have got different tastes. There are people who love clothes, attires, there are people who love land, there are people who love big cars, and there are also people who love other forms of excitement and even traveling. So, Honorable Speaker, this was a great inspiration, Honorable Speaker, on Ali Hassan Joho. And number two, Honorable Speaker, there was also an inspiration for the young people of Mr. Eric Mureithi Muga, a young man that appeared before you and even confessed not to be having a car. You know, he's been able to maneuver through the systems, maneuver through the network, and that clearly shows that your social network is a social net worth. And today, and I believe that when he gets his first salary, he'll be able to acquire himself a car. So this is a great inspiration. And finally, Honorable Speaker, I'm also very excited by the nomination of Mr. Julius Migos Ogamba. Before he appeared before your committee, Honorable Speaker, in the corridors of Parliament, members were saying that ministry possibly required a career educationist. But the confirmation of his performance truly confirmed that this is a person who is competent to what he was actually appointed.
Give him a minute and wind up.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Sorry, I had missed the point that it was 1 minute. So this Julius Migos Ogamba performed very well, and I saw honorable members and even members of the public saying that he exceeded their expectations, being a career advocate of the High Court. That again shows that advocates are all round. They can actually do anything. It can be like you've seen Professor Kithure Kindiki and so many others, Honorable Speaker. So, Honorable Speaker, I really want to support this and also tell the nominees that once they assume office, not to make themselves some demigods, not to, develop what we call in basic language big heads, by pride and everything. Find a way to relate with every person and serve Kenyans, and this House will keep them in check on every action that they're going to take while serving in office. I support, Honorable Speaker. Thank you.
For Bumula.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. And I will start by encouraging my colleagues that our role as members of Parliament is oversight. And we oversight as a House. We don't oversight as part of us. So it's really sickening when some members want to think they are in government or they are not in government, Honorable Speaker. We as a House, ours is to oversight. Not to forget what caused all this is that we had a cabinet that was not able to perform its duties. We had a cabinet that let the president down. We had a cabinet that let Kenyans down. And it gave an opportunity to the president to have a new cabinet, which we hope it's going to help him to serve Kenyans better. Honorable Speaker, we will continue oversighting because it's our responsibility as a House. Some of the colleagues that have joined the cabinet are members of this House. We expect nothing but performance. We expect nothing but good manners. Kenyans expect more, that they perform. They have been here, they know things that have been hurting Kenyans, that they go and perform and do good to Kenyans. That was a wake-up call for all of us.
that Kenyans are still angry, I urge the President of the Republic of Kenya to continue doing more in ensuring that every other Kenyan must feel comfortable to live in Kenya, by ensuring that we have regional balance, by ensuring that every Kenya, it doesn't matter where they come from, but they must feel part and parcel of this country. And I want to congratulate my minority leader, Honorable Upeo and I want to congratulate Honorable Mbadi. I want to congratulate Honorable Joe. I want to congratulate my big brother, Honorable Paranya, and my sister, the Minister for Health, if we are going to approve them, that I know that they can do a good job. Please don't let Kenyans down. Honorable members, Kenyans out there are still watching us, are still looking at us to ensure that we continue oversighting this government so that we can have a better country for all of us. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I wish them all good. Asanteni.
For Garsen and of Bura. Member for Bura. Give him the mic.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to add my voice onto this very important motion. Honorable Speaker, I want to single out some of the nominees who are before this House today. I want to start by one Honorable Eden Duale, who is a role model to some of us. He was the area member of Parliament for Dujis when I was completing my high school, and we met in this August House while we are both representing our great people. He's a man who has served and who has truly shown his abilities. We are proud of him, and we are sure that he's going to serve the nation as his position as the CS in charge of environment, forestry and mining. I want to also congratulate Honorable John Mbadi, who happens to be my chair in Public Accounts Committee. It has never been in doubt his abilities, his skills and expertise in ensuring that he be the driver and steers the country in good direction. I wish him well. I also wish to take this opportunity also to congratulate Ali Hassan Joho, our regional kingpin as well. It is an inspiration to many of us that somebody who got an...
Yes, Betty Maina, as your point of order. Member for Bura, take your seat. Give the... Why are you malfunctioning?
Not here to Mr. Speaker, we are not here to pass regional kingpins. We have been having a problem of passing leaders, and then they retreat to regional politics, regional development, or village cocoons. We are here to pass regional, national leaders. So I want him to withdraw regional kingpin. And apologize on that point or not on that order, on point of order.
Yes,
Mr. Speaker, I beg to reject and continue with my contribution.
Hold on, Bura.
Mheshimiwa Spika, nataka nimkosoe pia dadangu Mheshimiwa Betty akisema regional kingpin. Huyo ndio yuko ni kingpin, hajasema kuwa hawezi kufanyia kazi Kenya nzima. Atafanyia Wakenya wote, lakini ifahamike Hassan Ali Joho ndio kingpin wa Coast Region na kule North Eastern yote. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Order. Member for Bura, carry on.
Yes, thank you, Honorable Speaker. I wish to conclude my contribution by saying that we support the nominees, and it is in our diversity, our regional background that our strength lies in that. We are not saying that once somebody is a nominee from a certain area, he serves only that area. He will serve the Republic of Kenya. We are proud of them. We are supporting them. We are wishing them well. And some of the nominees personally interacted. Somebody like the CS for Interior, Cabinet Secretary. His background, being a lawyer, but he has performed exemplary in that docket. He has done well. He has ensured that all the problems within our regionals and our boundaries have been contained. And I wish, and I also want to thank the appointing authority, His Excellency the President, for listening to Kenyans and ensure that he enhances this broad-based government where people are not looked at the lenses of regional and ethnic background, but they are given an opportunity because of the expertise and the skills that they have. I am sure, I don't have any iota of doubt, that all the nominees who have been given those positions, if passed by this House, will serve diligently and will be Kenyans and not regional cocoons and regional kingpins, but will ensure that they have performed. And we are here to support them and wish them well. Thank you, Mr.
Honorable members, before I give the next, I want to acknowledge in the public gallery Ngereriti Secondary School from Konoin, Bomet. Ngererit, yes, from Bomet. On my behalf and on behalf of the House, we welcome the students and their teachers to Parliament. Esther Passaris.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to contribute to the list of CSs that have been recently vetted. I want to commend the committee under your leadership and that of the Deputy Speaker for the good work that you did, for the transparency of having it aired across all media houses, including social media. I note that, when the majority leader was speaking, he was saying that for the one that has been not approved, because she is from Rift Valley, then it has to be replaced by Rift Valley. I feel that it has to be replaced by the best person possible for the job. And when we look at the regional balance, we can see that Mount Kenya got the lion's share. Rift Valley had 4. And if you look at Northeastern, they only had 2 or 1. So I think if we want to have a replacement, we're looking for somebody who is the best person for the job. And we're also looking for a balance in terms of the various provinces that we have in the country so that everyone can feel represented in as far as the original 8 provinces of the country. Mr. Speaker, this country is coming from a very bad place. A lot of people are saying, why did the president bring back the same people? Well, the president didn't really bring back all the same people. He dropped quite a number of the previous CSs and he's formed a broad-based government. People say that when you have a broad-based government, you're not going to have an opposition. I think all of us, whether in government or in opposition, when we sit in committees to oversight, we all are actually supposed to make sure that the right thing happens and the various government arms actually deliver to the people. I think we've been challenged because of the exposés on corruption. As a House, I think we need to really strengthen the EACC. We need to give them prosecutorial powers. We need to make sure that every person that is coming, the president has given you a chance. Those who've come in for the second time and the new ones, we need to deliver to serve the country. And you can see that the Gen Zs are not sleeping. They want a country that will deliver prosperity to everyone and all Kenya. They want us to go in the right direction. We know we haven't gone in the right direction. So let's team up, all of us, 3 arms of government, and deliver for the people of Kenya the dreams of our forefathers.
Kahangara, member for Limuru.
Member for Larry, thank you.
Sorry, Kahangara. Member for Larry.
Okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. First of all, thank you for giving me this opportunity. And from the onset, I want to say that I'm in support of the report by the committee on appointments. Mr. Speaker, when the president decided to save or send the ministers home as a result of what we know happened in this country, I am sure that the president, having looked at the ministers or the CSS for that matter for the period of about 1.5 years, he was also just getting ready to do reorganization so that he can be able to get a team that will be able to deliver on the plan that he promised Kenyans. And with that, I want to congratulate him for the CSS, some of them who were reappointed, CSS who we have already seen that they did very, very well in their various ministries. And I can single out ministers, for example, Chilchil, who was in the Ministry of Energy, and he has done very well in terms of electrification within the country. And I'm sure in the next docket, where he's going to be the Minister for Roads, he's also going to work as hard and ensure that areas that have been marginalized, that includes Larry, will be taken care of, and they're going to get the infrastructure that we require. Ministers like Alice Wahome, who has also been able to work in the Lands Ministry, where, of course, we all know the kind of corruption that has been going on there, the digitization and trying to put up the records in the Ministry of Lands in the right manner. And I think that is going to solve a lot of issues of land problems that we have had, among other ministers who have been working very hard. Mr. Speaker, I'm one person who has been in support of cabinet secretaries coming from the National Assembly, or having served as politicians. And in this case, Mr. Speaker, including the President and the Deputy, we have 13 members of the cabinet who have gone through the National Assembly. And this is now going to bring some synergy where government policies will be solved, because having been politicians, they know how to communicate to the people. They will be able to take the message to the people on what the government is doing on the ground, and I'm sure they will be able to do a good job. I want to congratulate all of them, wish them well in their various ministries, and ask them that the issues of opulence and service to Kenyans should be across board, where all Kenyans will feel that indeed they belong, and we can see development across board. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Susan Kiamba.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me the time to make my contribution to this very important motion. And I think as we look at these nominees, Honorable Speaker, we must look at the back under what backdrop, where did we have a second selection of cabinet. I think, in my own opinion, Honorable Speaker, the major challenge we are facing as a country, which the President clearly declared, we had a cabinet that was incompetent. And there was the issue of exclusion, which came out very clearly. Honorable Speaker, as I sit here and listen to the committee report, I just wonder, as a specialist in issues technical and capacity building, how was the capacity and the competence developed for over 70% of the cabinet in less than a month? So I really feel very, very cheated as a member of parliament with the fact that within less than a month, people did not have competence. 70% of them gained competence. So I really want us to explore the tools. Honorable Speaker, my concern is we need to explore the tools.
Order, Susan. Honorable Susan. Yes, Alicia.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. What breaks on my mind is when she's talking about competence. There are two things. There's competencies and competence. What does she mean? Thank you.
Honorable Speaker, I am not apologizing. I'm not an Englishman, neither a woman. I'm a Kamba, and I know he understands his competence. Just to continue, Honorable Speaker, the other point was the issue of inclusion, and in particular, the inclusion was the inclusion for the youth. When we appoint only one youth, seemingly youth, is that an inclusion? I think we are being selfish as adults. And when the youth complain, we are not including them. Especially when we have over 50% of the population of this country being youth. I think it is not... Hello, Mr. Speaker, can you protect me? I can't even... contributing because of unnecessary noise. Thank you, Honorable Speaker. When we look at the population of Kenya, we have over 50% youth. When all the old men and whatever, women are few, get all the cabinet slots, are we genuinely? I think that is still exclusion for the youth. I don't see inclusion in that. Secondly, Honorable Speaker.
Order, Susan, there's a point of order from Owen Bayer.
I can disagree.
You know, Honorable Speaker, listening to Susan, she says that 80% of the cabinet has no competence, whichever it is, competencies or what. Then she comes and tells us that we are being selfish because we did not nominate youth. The youth that, in her words, actually do not have the competence. So that contradiction does not speak for the Kamba community. They have higher competencies than that.
To understand his point, because I stated very clearly, the president declared himself and said he is disbanding the cabinet because he's incompetent. When 70% comes back, it is assumed they have developed competence. I'm just wondering what tools were used to check that competence that within a month came up. I am feeling this was more political manipulation than actually what we are looking for as Kenyans.
Time up. Women rep for Tarakaniti. Okay, give her 1 minute to finish.
Honorable Speaker, and this is among the few dissenting voices which have not been given time. Honorable Speaker, I think I have been into an integrity class, and integrity does not mean the law, you must have been accused in law. Even when people doubt you and what you stand for, matters trust is an integrity issue. We have a case where somebody was accused by ESEC that he was corrupt, and the people brought evidence that there was that. Even that doubt in itself, chapter 6 of our constitution, that person is already disqualified. The last one, what I see is political manipulation of joining numbers of UDA and the ODM to get a super majority, but not a genuine concern to give Kenyans competence. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Go on.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me a chance to contribute to this very important motion. Mr. Speaker, sir, first of all, I want to thank the committee on appointment for banning the midnight oil and bringing such...
Order. Honorable Susan, when you spoke, you are listened to. Also listen to others. Go on.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for protecting me. I'm thanking the Committee on Appointment for finding time and banning the midnight oil, Mr. Speaker, sir, and bringing to us this list that has been brought to us by Mr. President. Mr. Speaker, sir, I thank the President for considering almost everyone. What I'm finding mostly in this list is inclusivity. The President considered social class, the President considered the region, the President considered different backgrounds, and Mr. President considered gender and youth. Mr. Speaker, sir, this list shows people with a great integrity. I want to congratulate mostly Professor Kidore Kedeke, a gentleman that I've known for the last over 30 years, since his early childhood, Mr. Speaker, sir. A very selfless man, a very committed man, a very dedicated man, and I wish and pray that even the other nominees, if approved by these honorables, will follow his steps. Mr. Speaker, sir, I also want to congratulate a young man from the farthest corner of Meru region, Eric Moreithi Moga, a humble man that I've known for some time, a young Adventist man from Mwamba, 70-day Adventist, Mr. Speaker, having known that 7-day religion or 70-day denomination is one of the minority denominations in the Eastern region. But Mr. President went and looked into him and considered him for this position, and the Adventists in the entire region in Meru have really appreciated this. Mr. Speaker, sir, I want to agree that we do mistakes occasionally, Mr. Speaker, and I know the entire nation is watching. Whether at executive level, whether at judiciary level, whether at the legislative level, Mr. Speaker, sir, we've always done mistakes. I want to say that our God is a God of forgiveness. Is a God that has been giving us chances, not twice, not thrice, not 10 times, Mr. Speaker, sir. We pray that we give our president a second chance by approving this list of nominees, Mr. Speaker, sir. But going forward, the issue of public participation, we are where we are, Mr. Speaker, sir, because public participation in this country is not effective, is not.
Atandi.
Thank you, Honourable Speaker, for giving me the opportunity. And let me begin by supporting the report from the vetting committee. Honourable Speaker, the Constitution says that the Cabinet should reflect regional and ethnic diversity. I want to agree that the nominees that are before us truly reflect the face of Kenya in the area of regional and ethnic diversity. Honourable Speaker, I am one of the people who prodded the President to make certain appointments, and I'm happy that my friend John Mbadi is going to be the Cabinet Secretary for Treasury. Honourable Speaker, the ministers come from certain regions, but they are not supposed to work only in those regions. Honourable Speaker, the Cabinet that is dissolved had some ministers who are notorious for turning the offices into their ethnic enclaves, where if you visit a minister's office, you only find this minister busy with their people from their villages. I want to urge the new ministers who are coming on board that even though you come from a particular region, you must understand that you are going to serve the people of Kenya. Yes. We had one from my region, Honourable Speaker, that every weekend you would find him distributing relief food from each village to the next. And I asked him to ensure that he serves the people of Kenya. Honourable Speaker, I'm happy that that minister has not been retained. So I want to tell the ministers who are coming on board to ensure that they serve the people of Kenya. Secondly, Honourable Speaker, when we talk about opulence and wealth declaration, because Kenyans have said that the vetting process did not question the nominees about their sources of wealth. They only came and said, I am worth 500 million. Honourable Speaker, I think the biggest question here is for these nominees, because we know most of them. We know how they lived and how they have been living. If tomorrow they begin to live certain life which we don't understand, then we will have to question them, because some of the ministers who have been removed from cabinet today, we knew them. There were people who were just eating omena and madondo with us. But then they began to eat at Serena and to dress expensively. So that is the question that we need to ask as a house. And lastly, Honourable Speaker, we said that the President took some of our members into his cabinet. I want to agree with my party leader that some of the members who are taken from our side are experts. Honourable Speaker, we want the vetting exercise. We watched it live. And Honourable Speaker, I am convinced that the members who came from the ODM party, the 4 of them, they have demonstrated capability, they have shown competence, and I know that they are going to serve the people of Kenya. I want to wish them well as they take over. Thank you, Honourable Speaker.
Bowen.
Final. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to support the committee report. And Mr. Speaker, I want to...
Honourable Bowen, as you speak, members, because of the interest being overwhelming, can I encourage you to speak for 2 minutes? 2 minutes. Starting with Bowen.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. And I want to start by saying I want to support the committee recommendation, Mr. Speaker, on all the cabinet secretaries, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to specifically talk about the Honorable Kindiki, who has really worked hard in Kerio Valley to make sure that we have a peace in Kerio Valley. Though, Mr. Speaker, we still have some challenges of insecurity in Kerio Valley. Mr. Speaker, I want also to thank the Honorable, His Excellency the President, for nominating again or reappointing Murkomen. Mr. Speaker, Murkomen was condemned, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Mbadi. And with all the skills on the Honorable Mbadi has shown and the experience he has shown even in this House, Mr. Speaker, I'm sure that going to Treasury, he is going to use his knowledge as a serious accountant and expertise in finance, Mr. Speaker, to turn around the economy of this country and to make sure that our economy grows. Mr. Speaker, I want to really talk about the nominee who was rejected. Mr. Speaker, it was very unfortunate. I wish the committee would have shown us the marks. Who scored the highest and why he scored the lowest, Mr. Speaker. Because it was wrong to condemn the lady, Mr. Speaker, because of what UNED said that they were considering about including the physical looks. Mr. Speaker, I hope she was not dropped because of that. So, but anyway, Mr. Speaker, we want to ask His Excellency the President to consider her in another position. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Farah Maalim.
Mr. Speaker, thank you very much. Mr. Speaker, this cabinet is the most representative, both in terms of form, substance, equity, equality, and diversity since we got independence in this country. Mr. Speaker, I commend the President for looking at the four corners of this country and making sure that we are looking for the best. Mr. Speaker, I have been around for quite a long time. I remember the first cabinet of this country, how it was, all the way to the one we have here now. I think this country is better united today and more cohesive with this kind of a cabinet than it has ever been in the history of independent Kenya. Mr. Speaker, I am also confident that these ministers or CSS cabinet secretaries will do a good job. And just like that, on a cursory look, I see a number of good people who have done a good job previously, who are again featuring in this. Kindiki, Davis Chirchir, Duale, and many others. And then I also see some very good, powerful, fresh blood like Mbadi. Mbadi has been in the Public Accounts Committee from the days we were in Parliament, me and you here, in the 10th Parliament. So he knows exactly what goes on in... Mr. Speaker, can I have 1 more minute? He knows exactly what happens in Treasury, inside out. And I'm sure he's going to do a very good job. Mr. Speaker, let's give this cabinet space. Let's support them. Let's support our president in this case, because this country has got to be kept together. Those who are running around with all these demonstrations and the rest, I have seen what a failed.
Done. John Waluke, I added you a minute, yes. Yes. Give him 1 minute.
Thank you.
Give him 1 minute.
Mr. Speaker, I have seen what a failed state is like. People were laughing yesterday, that Bangladesh civilians have gone and taken over the State House. Bangladesh is under military rule today as we talk. It's under military rule, and watch what is going to happen. Mr. Speaker, the same thing that we are seeing here is what was in Sudan. Young students, my daughters went to school in Sudan, going out there and demonstrating and saying revolution, revolution, revolution. What do we have today? 15 million people displaced. Over 1 million people dead, and a country that has no hope for the next 30 years. Mr. Speaker, let us save our country. Let us give our president sufficient space. This is the first time we have a president who is willing to reach out to every sector of the society and debate with them. And we are calling him all sorts of names. That's not fair. Let's give him a chance, and let's see how this thing can be pulled out of where we are now, and how we can take our country to the next level of
John Waluke.
Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for giving me chance also to contribute on this report, committee report, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I want to thank the President for the appointment. It is a national outlook, Honorable Speaker, because every side of the country, Honorable Speaker, at least one person is chosen. And Honorable Speaker, what we want is that these CSS who have been nominated by the President should help him to work closely. At least we are, as a country, Honorable Speaker, we've gone back about 1 year or so because of what happened. And so this Honorable CSS should be very keen. Honorable Speaker, I'm happy with the President appointing Honorable Upeo and Honorable Mbadi. They are going to show their competence because if they fail, Honorable Speaker, they would have failed us as colleagues and a House as well. Honorable Speaker, this country needs unity, all of us at least, to come together. We forget our differences, political differences, so that we help the President to carry on with his mandate that the Wananchi gave him, elected him as the President of Kenya. I want to thank even the other side, Honorable Speaker, that we are joining together as a team of this House to make sure that we support this country. Let's put our country first.
Your time is up. Member for Malindi.
Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, nasimama hapa kuunga mkono haya majina yote yenye ambayo yameweza kuteuliwa na Rais William Samoei Ruto ili kuweza kuwa mawaziri katika baraza la mawaziri. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunashukuru pia sisi kama wanawake 5 wameweza kupatiwa nyadhifa kubwa mbalimbali, na ni haki yetu sisi kama wanawake ya kusema ya kwamba tunashukuru. Tunashukuru pia vile tumeona kijana mmoja ambaye ameteuliwa katika Wizara ya Maji, ambapo tunajua sisi kama vijana pia hili jambo limekwenda kutufurahisha. Mheshimiwa Spika. Mheshimiwa Spika, mimi niko na mambo mawili tu kuambia wale mawaziri ambao wameteuliwa. Jambo la kwanza ni kwamba hatutaki watu wa yesa. Mheshimiwa Spika, tunataka watu ambao wataketi na rais na kuweza kumwelezea rais na kuweza kumsaidia rais kwa sababu ya Kenya iweze kusonga mbele. Mheshimiwa Spika, hawa ni watu wenye ambao watakuwa kwa karibu sana na rais, na wao hawafai kuwa ni watu wa yesa. Wanafaa ni watu ambao wataweza kusaidia hii hali ya Kenya. Mheshimiwa Spika, ni onyo tu Mheshimiwa Spika ya kwamba wale mawaziri wengine wamekuwa ofisini miaka 2 na kwa sababu zisizoepukika wameweza kuachiliwa wengine. Hata wao hivi saizi wajue ya kwamba wanakwenda kupatiwa kazi, lakini Wakenya wako chonjo, na wasipofanya kazi yao vizuri, Mheshimiwa Spika, sisi kama Wakenya tunakwenda kuanguka na wao. Asante sana Mheshimiwa Spika.
Mwengi Mutuse.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Allow me from the onset to support the report of the Committee on Appointments as relates to the approval of the 19 CS nominees and the rejection of one of them. Mr. Speaker, particularly as the foremost political leader of the Maendeleo Chapchap Party, allow me to thank His Excellency the President for retaining our founding party leader, the Honorable Dr. Alfred Mutua, in his second cabinet as the CS for Labor and Social Protection. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, I am too well aware of the role of Parliament under Article 94 of our Constitution, and also particularly the role of the National Assembly under Article 95 of the Constitution. And Mr. Speaker, part of our mandate is to raise the concerns of our people. And I want to particularly address the cabinet secretaries whom we are approving today, to tell them that their work is cut out. We are churning out 3 million young people every year into the job market. And these young Kenyans want jobs. it is the role of cabinet to very urgently create jobs for these young people. And to create those jobs, the economy must grow by double digit. And therefore, you have no time for luxury. The role of parliament will be to oversight. The role of parliament will be to make sure that there is no corruption. The role of parliament will be to make sure that ministers do not enter into comfort zones, sit in their offices, and they do not move around the country doing what they are supposed to do. And we want to encourage them, as they do their job, to also understand that parliament must do its job so that all of us serve the people of Kenya. With those remarks, Mr. Speaker, I beg to support with the rider that parliament will do its job so that Kenyans are served, and they are served to the maximum. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Irene Mayaka.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I also stand to, from the get-go, support the report from the committee. And Honorable Speaker, I just want to say that number one, that for these particular nominees, we just want to let them know that yes, some of them have been given a second chance against what the public really wished. And we want them to make sure that they do a good job. Honorable Speaker, I also want to just acknowledge the fact that from our end, we submitted our experts and donated our experts to the President. And I want to wish the Honorable Mbadi, the Honorable Joho, the Honorable Oparanya, and the Honorable Upeo the very best. Honorable Speaker, my third point, I also just want to say that the public was witnessed how great the Omogusi community also gave one of our sons, who is a lawyer, but he did show that he can actually be competent in the ministry within which he has been supported. Honorable Speaker, finally, I want to say that as gender, some of us are not blind to gender. And we did see and we support the committee on the rejection of the gender nominee, and would like to ask the President to give us another competent nominee. And Honorable Speaker, as has been said before, the gender nominee does not have to be a woman. Even someone like Honorable Wanjala can be a very good minister for gender. And so, Honorable Speaker, we just want to say that we support the competence and we want to have competent people. And just to let the CS nominees know that yes, you have been approved, but if you do not do your work well, we will make sure that we come back here and impeach you. For now, we wish you the best. Thank you.
Honorable Tandaza.
Asante Mheshimiwa Spika kwa kunipa fursa hii. Kwanza niseme kwamba sio mkono peke yake ninaunga, lakini naunga ripoti hii ya kamati pamoja na miguu yangu na kichwa na nywele na macho na kila kitu, kwa sababu hakuna wakati ambayo kamati imeweza kufanya kazi nzuri kama hii, ambapo imetoa ripoti yake bila kushawishiwa na mtu kuona kwamba huyu anafaa, na yule ambao kamati wakaona kwamba haifai wakaweza kutamka kwamba hawafai. Nichukue fursa hii kumshukuru Rais kwa kuweza kumteua tena kwa mara ya pili aliyekuwa waziri mstahiki gavana wa kwanza wa Kwale Salim Mvurya, ambaye katika kazi yake ambayo aliifanya na imani katika zile memoranda ambazo ziliweza kupelekwa, hakukuwa na moja ambayo ilikuwa inamkashifu waziri Salim Mvurya. Ukiangalia katika mapato yake, licha ya kuwa amekuwa amehudumu kuwa waziri kwa kipindi karibu miaka miwili, utakuta bado pato lake ni chini ya milioni 200. Hili lilikuwa ni jambo la kushangaza kwa Wakenya, kwani wanajiuliza wakati mawaziri wengine kwa muda huu wameweza kupata zaidi ya milioni 300 na zaidi, mbona yeye bado hajapata hata zaidi ya milioni 100? Na hili ni wazi ya kwamba yeye ni mwadilifu, anafanya kazi kwa kutambua Wakenya, na hilo ndio jukumu la mawaziri. Pia nichukue fursa hii kushukuru kuteuliwa kwa Hassan Joho, ambaye amepatiwa ile wizara ambayo ni changa lakini na matumaini makubwa katika ekonomi ya Kenya. Sio watu wa pwani peke yake ambao wako na bahari Hindi, lakini ina nafasi ya kuajiri na kuleta fedha nyingi katika hii nchi ya Kenya, na imani kwamba waziri aliyoteuliwa ana tajriba ya kuweza kufufua wizara hiyo na kuleta mapato makubwa. Asante.
Member for Lugari.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I first want to thank the President for finding it fit to pick experts from my party, and especially Honorable Paranya, who is known for being a performer in his work. Mr. Speaker, I want to appreciate the committee. I think in the life of Parliament, the vetting committee did its work very transparently. I've gone through the report. It is very exhaustive on every nominee. And I want to plead with my brothers who feel that the rejected candidate be given a chance, that please, there are better people in that community. There are more competent women in this country. That is not the way to go. The way to go is that Gen Z were asking for good governance. They are asking for competencies. They are asking for people value. So let us give them those people. Finally, Mr. Speaker, let the cabinet be on notice that as we sit here, we will continue to oversight to ensure that Kenyans get value for money. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Garissa.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, also for giving me this opportunity to add my voice on the motion and the debate that is going on. Mr. Speaker, I want first of all to congratulate the committee, the appointment committee, for the good work and extensive work they have done and the extensive report they have produced on this document. And I want to support with reservation on the last nominee who was rejected. Having said that, Mr. Speaker, we want to thank the President as members from the region of Northern Kenya for appointing my former Member of Parliament, Honorable Aden Duele, and there's no doubt about his competency. And all those who are reappointed, Honorable Chirchir, Honorable Miano, Honorable Saipan, and Honorable Kindiki. Honorable Kindiki has been said to be one of the performers. However, I have an issue with that as well, because in my region where I come from, I think there is a problem of abduction, and which the Honorable Minister has failed to address. On the objection I have on the report of the rejection of the nominee for Honorable Soy, Mr. Speaker, having read this report, I feel Soy is one of the most competent persons. I've never met Soy, I don't know her, but I think she's one of the competent people in terms of documents, in terms of integrity. There is no memorandum on her on this bill. The only thing I see that she was judged on was the issue of public speaking, her inability to address her issues, because this cabinet nominee has served in this country. She's only one of the only ministers, nominees, who have served over the last 30 years in many ministries and departments in this country. There is no logic in telling us that the lady does not meet the expectations.
Joe. Give her the mic.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to take this opportunity to thank the President of this great nation for listening to Kenyans, for listening to the Gen Zs, for listening to members of this country, Mr. Speaker, for accepting to redo his cabinet, Mr. Speaker. I equally want to thank the Honorable, His Excellency, the Prime Minister, our Baba, the only Baba we have in this nation, Mr. Speaker, for donating, Mr. Speaker, 5 experts. Indeed, the nation saw Baba donated 5 experts. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the man of the moment, Mr. Speaker, the Right Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, once described as academic dwarf, and now became an academic giant, Mr. Speaker. I want to applaud him. Indeed, academic does not matter. A Harvard student pursuing masters in leadership, Mr. Speaker. We are waiting for his PhD, Mr. Speaker. Professor Ali Hassan Joho. We are indeed waiting for that doctorate, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I want to thank the President for nominating again our kingpin, Mr. Speaker, Honorable Duale. There is no apology about that, Mr. Speaker. He's the kingpin for the northeastern province, Mr. Speaker. The only...
Rebecca Tonkei.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker, sir, for giving me this moment to congratulate the nominees for CSS. Honorable Speaker, I want to say from the onset, the vetting committee did an excellent report, and the work you did is excellent. And I stand here to support your approval of the 19 CSS. Honorable Speaker, when you look at Honorable CS Soipan, I want to thank His Excellency, the President, for nominating her once again to be a CS. The lady did an excellent job, and those are the kind of ladies, Honorable Speaker, we support. And Honorable Speaker, looking at Honorable Mbadi, we all agree that this has been a chair for the Budget Committee, and he did an excellent job while there. So I know he's going to give us service, and therefore the members that have been appointed, Honorable Speaker, are going to do an excellent job, which Kenyans are longing for. And therefore, Honorable Speaker, we are not supporting anybody because of region, but we are supporting people who will serve this country. When you look at the youth who has been appointed, Eric who has been appointed as the CS irrigation for water. Honorable Speaker, I know the young man, and I know he's going to do an excellent job because he performed well, even in the interview, which shows that he knows what he's going to do, and therefore I support the report. Thank you.
Yes. Take your seats. Take your seats. Member for Lurambi.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. I stand to support the report. And Honorable Speaker, I want to applaud the vetting committee, which was chaired by yourself, for the great work that you did. Honorable Speaker, I had an opportunity on Sunday to sit in the gallery during the vetting of the Honorable Wycliffe Oparanya, and I saw the intensity in the room, the kind of work you did, how you scrutinized every corner and everything during the exercise, and I want to applaud you. However, Honorable Speaker, may I add my voice concerning the issue of Madam Soy? I do not know her in person, but I just want to think that people are talented differently. Honorable Speaker, this lady, looking at some of the history that she has and what she has done, and as a career civil servant, I think she was judged harshly. And therefore, as a man who prays, I pray that she'll have an opportunity, because even in the church, Honorable Speaker, you can have a preacher who doesn't know how to preach well or speak well, but when he touches on people, miracles happen. Miracles happen just by touching. Therefore, just miracles happen. Protect me from Shakil. So I pray that it works out for her. I support this report, and I say thank you for the good work you did, and wish all the members well as they get into their new offices. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Member for Molo. Now, you members, can you reduce the time even further? We are coming to an end. Go on, Kimani.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. First of all, having watched the proceedings of the vetting exercise, Honorable Speaker, I want to applaud you, and there was really a lot to learn from yourself when you chaired that committee. You gave everyone a chance to be heard. You gave the nominees an ample time to execute their matters, and you gave the members of that committee ample time to ask their questions. So we want to applaud you, and you have a lot to learn from that. I would like to congratulate to single out CP Mbadi, being the cabinet nominee for the Ministry of Finance, as someone the Committee of Finance and National Planning will be closely working with. One of the issues that he raised is on the finance bill, Honorable Speaker, of 2024. And as we consider various ways of making sure that we have a predictable tax environment, but also that we do not cripple our economy and we make sure that we finance our budget, it's very important that perhaps this time around we need to separate the different statutes instead of doing the one omnibus finance bill, Honorable Speaker. That perhaps he and his team need to craft a tax procedures amendment bill, an income tax amendment bill, a VAT amendment bill, an exercise duty amendment bill, and miscellaneous and fees amendment bill, so that Kenyans have ample time to deliberate on these particular matters, because of course not many of the people are tax experts, and therefore the confusion that came around that, Honorable Speaker, even led to what happened after the aftermath of the finance bill of 2024, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I would like also to congratulate one Dr. Margaret Jambura as a nominee from our home county of Nakuru, and one Engineer Eric Murithi, who is now going to be the youngest cabinet secretary, and this means that the president has a space of young people and willing to mentor us to be great leaders in this country, Honorable Speaker. And allow me.
Over, Beatrice Kamei.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. On the onset, I want to thank the committee for the job well done under your chairmanship. I appreciate the work done, but however, Honorable Speaker, I'm so disappointed with the rejection of one Stella Soy, Honorable Speaker. Looking at her CV, this is a well-read lady. This is a lady that has done a lot, having rose to the position of a DC. Honorable Speaker, she is championed for the work of women empowerment, issues against, as she spoke, against HIV position. Honorable Speaker, I was asking myself, is it because she was the last one to be vetted and the committee was tired and felt like she's not the best? I hereby feel, Honorable Speaker, that she can still be given another chance. Kandie was rejected, but when she came back to the House, she was actually saved. Just the same with Malosa. So, Honorable Speaker, what is it that we can do to save this very honorable lady? The fact that she transited from one job to another is not a yardstick to say that she's not able. That is just to tell us that she can work in this position and many other positions, Honorable Speaker. Otherwise, I want to say that Stella Soy can still be given that opportunity. Thank you very much, Honorable Speaker.
Mbui, member for Kitui Rural.
Mboni.
David Mboni.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity to also say one or two things about these reports. On the onset, I support the report. Mr. Speaker, let me thank the President for nominating Honorable Mbadi to be the CS National Treasury and Economic Planning, because I know Mbadi is a very honest man, hardworking. And I know he's going to bring changes in the National Treasury. Mr. Speaker, what this country is facing is bad economic policies, bad tax measures, and poor financial management. Mr. Speaker, the first thing which Mbadi should do is to bring reasonable budget. I believe the budget we have been getting is too big, such a way that we have to do a lot of tax measures which impacts negatively to the lives of people. I believe the budget which we have been having, we can do with 30% reduction of the budget, and will be very well in place to move. Mr. Speaker, I also believe that we need to subject the budget estimates to public participation the way we do to finance bill, because there's a lot of wastage in the budget, and we need to introduce auxiliary measures and fiscal consultation so that we can be able to reduce budget and reduce wastage. Things like tea, flowers, unnecessary conferences and trainings should not be really be in a budget. I believe Honorable Mbadi is going to reduce the Passadi cars which were there during the former president Uhuru when he was minister.
Owen Bayer.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the office of a cabinet secretary is a high office, and any person that this House approves to sit as a cabinet secretary must rise above board. They might rise above politics, they might rise above all other prejudices that they have to serve the country. They must also, Honorable Speaker, be loyal to one center of power. They must be loyal to the people of Kenya, not themselves. They have to drop all other things about themselves and serve this country. The reason that we find ourselves in this space today is because cabinet secretaries that we vetted in this House went there as individuals. They looked for fame, they looked for wealth, they looked for things that did not help us to unify this country. But this cabinet has put together now, and as we vote for it in a few minutes, Honorable Speaker, is a cabinet of national unity that we must bring the country together so that this country prospers as the nation of Kenya and not many nations put together. Honorable Speaker, I pray that as we approve these members of the new cabinet go in there to work for Kenyans, they should not go there to work for their stomachs or work for their tribes or work for their families. They are going in there as cabinet secretary of the government of Kenya for the state of Kenya, and they must serve this country indiscriminately. So, Honorable Speaker, as we take our vote, I want to take a vote today knowing I'm voting a cabinet that will unify the country, that will serve the country, that they will stop the corruption, that they will stop the opulence, that they will stop being individuals, but serve a country called Kenya. And that's why I will vote today to pass this cabinet. And I hope everybody else, Honorable Speaker, does that. We vote so that we consolidate the...
Mbadi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. May I take this opportunity, Mr. Speaker, to thank the advisors to the President for coming up with this cabinet. Mr. Speaker, we thank all stakeholders involved in this cabinet. Want to thank your committee, Mr. Speaker, for vetting these nominees. Mr. Speaker, I'll speak because I'm a victim of the gender ministry in this House, and my advice, I'll not speak about Stella. I saw how she went through the vetting. She had no much information about the gender docket, and I'm one leader. Just because I'm a lady, I will not support a lady who would not, and we were really ashamed of this. Mr. Speaker, my advice to the Kenyans, let the advisors look for a person living with a disability to take over the gender docket. Would be fully cabinet formed constitutionally, because we have the youth, we have the women, we have the men in this cabinet. Mr. Speaker, we want to congratulate our team from ODM, Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, Honorable Mbadi, Honorable Wandai, and Honorable Oparanya for being the best in the vetting. Mr. Speaker, you saw the eloquence, the firmness, the confidence Hassan Joho had in this vetting. We want to congratulate him. He has our support and will support all the members in this cabinet today, and we say yes to all the vetted nominees. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Order, honorable members. Order. Take your seats. Order, honorable members. I thought I would exercise discretion to extend, but I'm advised that this motion takes 3 hours. We've done 3 hours. Order, that's what I said, but I've been advised differently, and I take advice. It's a special motion. I thought it was an ordinary motion. A special motion, it takes 3 hours. You passed a resolution yourselves at the beginning of the session. I was given and I approved an amendment to the motion by the member for Vihiga County. But she has since come to the chair and told me she has no intention of prosecuting it. I want her just to confirm.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, for giving me this opportunity. Before I prosecute what you have said about my bringing up an amendment, before I do it, Mr. Speaker, I also want to congratulate those who have done it,
I only wanted one thing from you.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I oblige. I wish to withdraw the amendment that I wanted to make. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
That being the case, I now call the mover to reply.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, Honorable Speaker, I know there are quite a number of members who are asking me to donate, but procedurally, you know, I'm not allowed to donate at the conclusion of debate, as you did, and therefore want to beg that you do allow me to reply. Honorable Speaker, as I thanked the committee in moving, Honorable Speaker, I forgot to thank our staff of the Parliamentary Service Commission, who diligently worked with us at committee stage throughout the sittings from Wednesday evening all the way to this morning. Honorable Speaker, we have very diligent staff members, some who did not sleep for 2 days. Indeed, Honorable Speaker, you know, we would have tabled this motion on Tuesday, but we couldn't because we had to allow our staff members on Monday at least the afternoon to take a break. And I must take this opportunity to thank them profoundly for their sacrifice and the time they put in to make sure, under the able leadership of Nicholas Emigen, one of our directors, Honorable Speaker, to make sure that we had a report ready in time. Honorable Speaker, allow me also to thank all the members who have contributed in support and even the differing opinions to this motion for approval of the nominees that have been proposed for approval, and for the rejection of the one nominee, Honorable Speaker, who I said in moving is not an indictment as to her ability to serve in any other capacity. And I would encourage His Excellency the President, should he find another position that this Stella Soy can serve in, and since she's still an officer in government, then he has a prerogative to allow her to serve in any other capacity, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, let me also note that for the first time, Honorable Speaker, we were able to vet nominees throughout a weekend, and not just throughout a weekend as is customary, Honorable Speaker. I know members, we are accustomed that when we are working over the weekend, we retreat to hotels, but Honorable Speaker, you remember me and yourself committing to the country that upon completion of Bunge Towers, we would utilize more of the space that we have in Parliament. Allow me, Honorable Speaker, to thank you as the chairperson of the Parliamentary Service Commission, that leading by example and in line with the austerity measures being instituted across all arms of government, for the first time, a committee chaired by none other than the chair of the Parliamentary Service Commission, who happens to be our Speaker, a committee where both the leadership of the minority and majority sit in,
and at least another 4 chairs of committees, besides the other ranking members who serve in this appointments committee. We sat throughout the weekend at County Hall. And County Hall chambers, mini chambers, became our home throughout the weekend. We prayed there, worshiped there on Friday for our Muslim brothers. We had a room where our Muslim brothers were praying from. And even on Sunday, those of us like me and yourself, Honorable Speaker, who are Christians, you had your morning mass at 7 a.m. in County Hall. And I had my 10 a.m. 15 minutes break at County Hall. And this is the new spirit, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, this is the spirit that we want to set for the rest of the other arms of government. That we can have austerity measures where we all retreat and do our work within the precincts of Parliament and other arms of government, because there are many government institutions that we can take advantage of and use to save on the unnecessary expenditure that would otherwise have incurred. Honorable Speaker, lastly, Honorable Speaker, let me thank all these nominees, including the gentleman and honorable member for Ugunja constituency and minority leader, the Honorable Upeo and I, the Honorable John Mbadi, who is now destined to take over upon approval by this House, if you agree to approve, our National Treasury. Honorable Speaker, these are extraordinary times that call for extraordinary men to the service of their nation. The Honorable Upeo and I, the Honorable John Mbadi, are among us here as colleagues. Should we, and when we approve this motion, Honorable Speaker, these two honorable members will go now to join the executive. I want to speak to the Honorable Andai, who is here, because John Mbadi is here. When you get to the other side, the Honorable John Upeo Andai, and the Honorable John Mbadi, when you do get to the other side, remember this is a house that has vetted you, and if we approve you, that has approved you. You will not be going to the other side in the executive to serve these members of parliament. But these members of parliament represent the people of Kenya. Please go and serve the people of Kenya. Serve them diligently, fairly. Ensure that the last mile connectivity program is rolled out across the country without favor, without discrimination, and knowing where you are coming from, Honorable Wandai. Know that there are parts of this country that have been marginalized over the years. Know it may be fashionable for the leader of majority, because of the region I come from, to speak about one man, one vote, one shilling. But remember, as I speak about one man, one vote, one shilling, there are corners of this republic where young children and even people who are my age have never seen electricity in their homes. There are places in this country, Honorable Wandai. My constituency, Kikuyu, is at 85 to 87% connectivity. Baringo County as a whole is at 35% connectivity. Marsabit County, parts of Luo Nyanza, because of, it is true, parts of Luo Nyanza, people have never seen electricity. There are parts of Luo Nyanza, Honorable Speaker, I have been to, where if you go to Suba constituency, both Subas, the first inch of tarmac was only seen in the recent past. These are injustices John Mbadi, now coming from Suba constituency, must bring to an end. We must serve this country as leaders who know that we are serving one people in one country that is indivisible. We must never allow again politics and parochial politics to divide our people. Honorable Speaker, if you look at what is happening today in the United Kingdom, If you see what is happening today in the United Kingdom, Honorable Speaker, we were a colony of the Great Britain or the United Kingdom. Honorable Speaker, if you see what is happening in the United Kingdom today, dear Kenyans, you will know that any country can get lost at the fraction of a second.
What is your point of order?
Honorable Speaker, when the Honorable Junet wants to inform me.
No, it's not Junet. The Honorable Ado has a point of order to begin with. Ado?
You have the mic.
Thank you, Speaker. The words of the majority leader are really, really touching. But is that the reality on the ground in Kenya? The inequality, lack of equity is there. So let's not just make it lip service.
What is out of order?
That's my point of order, Mr. Speaker.
What is out of order?
That is my point of order, Mr. Speaker.
Okay. Honorable Ado, that is not a point of order. Yes, Junet.
Mr. Speaker, I am very happy that the majority leader has allowed me to inform you. Mr. Speaker, the majority leader has spoken that the ministers must serve the country. Because in this country now we are suffering. Because we have a deputy president who is serving only one region, Mr. Speaker. And the region I come from are almost thinking of having their own deputy also. Can we have people who are serving the country in totality, Mr. Speaker?
Honorable Speaker, I was saying, Honorable Speaker, the Honorable Cabinet Secretary nominees, if approved by this House, must serve the people of Kenya. Honorable Speaker, this morning I had an engagement with a relative in the UK who was telling me that what we are seeing happening in the UK today, and that's the point I was at before the Honorable Ado interrupted with the point of order, can happen to any country. Let us not take it for granted that we have a country that stands united. Let us never take it for granted that we have one people who are indivisible, save for our politics. We must never allow our politics to divide our people. Today, whether you are Muslim, whether you are Christian, whether you are of Asian descent or African descent in the UK, people are not sleeping. They don't feel safe. For the first time, I've seen the Kenyan embassy in the UK, in London, give an advisory to Kenyans in London. For the first time. Since I became a grown-up, Honorable Speaker, I don't know whether before that they had ever done so. But Honorable Speaker, I want to plead with us, let us support this motion. Let us send out these gentlemen and ladies to serve the people of Kenya, and as they serve the people of Kenya, to remember to serve them with the highest degree of integrity, with decorum, and with respect to the people of Kenya. I beg to reply and beg for your support.
Order, honorable members. Take order. Betsimba, take your seat. Who does she want to inform? The debate is over. Honorable members, I want now to put the question. One, before I do that, if Honorable Mbadi and Wandai are in the chamber, let them stay at the back. We'll allow them in after the vote. They cannot vote in their own cause. Number two, you'll have two votes. The first one on the nominees from 1 to 19. Then the second one is on the rejection. On the rejection, they don't go together. So I now put the question, which is that taking into consideration the findings of the Committee on Appointments in its second report on the vetting of the nominees for appointment to office of cabinet secretaries laid on the table of the House today, Wednesday, 7th August 2024, and pursuant to the provisions of Article 152(2) of the Constitution and Section 3 and 8 of the Public Appointments Parliamentary Approval Act 2011, this House, 1, approves the appointment of the following persons as cabinet secretaries. Honorable Professor Kithure Kindiki, EGH, Ministry of Interior and National Administration. Dr. Deborah Mulongo Barasa, Minister of Health. Honorable Alice Wahome, EGH, Minister of Lands, Public Works, Housing and Urban Development. Mr. Julius Migos Ogamba, EBS, Minister of Education. Honorable Roslinda Soipan Tuya, EGH, Minister of Defense. Dr. Andrew Mwihia Karanja, Minister of Agriculture and Livestock Development. Honorable Aden Bare Duale, EGH, Ministry of Environment, Climate Change and Forestry. Mr. Eric Murith Muuga, Minister of Water, Sanitation and Irrigation. Mr. Davis Chirchir, EGH, Minister of Roads and Transport. Dr. Margaret Nyambura Ndungu, Minister of Information, Communication and the Digital Economy. Honorable John Mbadi Ngongo, EGH, the National Treasury and Economic Planning. Honorable Salim Mvuria Mgala, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Investment, Trade and Industry. Ms. Rebecca Miano, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Tourism and Wildlife. Honorable James Upeo EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. Honorable Onesimus Kipchumba Murkomen, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Youth Affairs, Creative Economy and Sports. Honorable Hassan Ali Joho, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Mining, Blue Economy and Maritime Affairs. Honorable Dr. Alfred Nganga Mutua, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Labor and Social Protection. Honorable Wycliffe Ambetsa Oparanya, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Order. Cabinet Secretary, Ministry of Cooperatives and Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, MSME Development. Honorable Justin Bedan Njoka Muturi, EGH, Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Public Service and Human Capital Development. Honorable members at the bar, take your seats. The nearest seats. The nearest seats. Nguna, that is not the nearest seat you are going to. Order, honorable members. Is Honorable Mbadi in the house? Where is he? Yeah, we said we'll call them in after the vote. Where is he? He will hold on out there. So having called all those 19 names, now I put the question as members of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay? The ayes have it. Order 2 rejects the appointment of Ms. Stella Soy Langat, as the Cabinet Secretary, Minister of Gender, Culture, the Arts and Heritage, As many as of that opinion say aye. Aye. Will those of the contrary opinion say nay? Nay. The ayes have it. Order. It is clear there are no numbers to claim a division. Honorable members, you may now call in your colleagues who are exiting. Order. Take your seats. Honorable Amboka. Okay. Honorable Mbadi and Wandai, you may now enter the chamber and take your seats. No, they are not. Order, honorable members. Order, honorable members. Honorable members, after the vote, order. And you know we have a precedent to this. Having taken the vote, this House will from this evening lose 2 members to the executive. And as we did last time with our colleagues, Honorable Duale and Alice Wahome, I'll give each one of the 2 an opportunity to say something to the House. Each one will have no more than 5 minutes. I'll start with the Honorable Wandai.
Thank you very much, the Honorable Speaker. Honorable members, allow me, following the communication by the Honorable Speaker, to say a few things as I hand over the instruments of the office of the leader of the minority party to the new office holder. My tenure as the leader of the minority party of the National Assembly in the 13th Parliament under Article 108 of the Constitution has now come to an end. Honorable Speaker, it is important that I do some reflection. For the time I've been in this House, now close to 12 years. Honorable Speaker, let me share with you, honorable members, one of my most epic moments during my service in this House as a legislator. You will recall, I'm sure, that in the 11th Parliament, during my first term, I was actually suspended from the service of this House on the 31st March 2016 for the remainder of the session. Those days, of course, even up to now, sessions used to begin from 1st January to end of December, I think. So I was suspended for the remainder of the session on 31st March 2016. I rushed to the courts for refuge and sought a judicial review of the decision of the House. Now, this prompted the House, that's the most important point really here. This prompted the House to re-examine the provisions of our standing orders. And following extensive consideration of the matter by the Committee of Powers and Privileges and incorporating the guidance of the courts, it was recommended that the National Assembly standing orders be reviewed to accord a member accused of breach of parliamentary privilege of suspension of 90 days. Therefore, on a positive note, this incident has significantly contributed to the jurisprudence of this august House. Honorable Speaker, for close to 2 years of my service as leader of the minority party in this parliament, I have continuously championed the minority position on issues under consideration and helped to some extent to contribute to the legislative process through open engagement. From time to time and whenever necessary, I have had to consult and strike compromises with the majority party in the best interest of the public. Indeed, as with any other office holder, during the discharge of their duty, milestones have been achieved. Shoulders have been rubbed, sometimes the wrong way, and challenges have been experienced. Honorable Speaker, I wish to acknowledge the immense support of the parliamentary staff during my approximately 12 years of service in this House. Your office, Mr. Speaker, and that of the clerk, Mr. Samuel Njoroge, have been very instrumental in the legislative process through impartial professional guidance and administrative facilitation. For this, I will forever be truly indebted to these officers and the very hardworking officers. In addition, I wish to appreciate my able staff who work closely with me. I wish them all the best, and I will forever again remain indebted for their support. Asanteni sana. Honorable Speaker, President John F. Kennedy of the U.S. said during an address in the Assembly Hall at the Polskach in Frankfurt in 1963, and I quote, "Change is the law of life, and those who look only to the past or the present are certain to miss the future." Honorable Speaker, allow me to express my special gratitude to my party leader, the Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga. Baba, for enabling my appointment as the leader of the minority party in September 2022. I am also grateful to the membership of the minority party for their support and cooperation during the close to 2 years of service as the leader of the minority party. Honorable Speaker, I cannot end without thanking the President of the Republic of Kenya. I repeat. Okay. Honorable Speaker, I cannot end without thanking the President of the Republic of Kenya, His Excellency William Ruto, His Excellency Dr. William Samoei Ruto, PhD, for granting me this historic opportunity to serve my country as Cabinet Secretary in the Ministry of Energy and Petroleum. I wish to reiterate, Honorable Speaker, that this country is much bigger than each and every one of us, and we have a duty and obligation to protect and nurture it for the present and future generations. Honorable Speaker, I take this opportunity to congratulate my very able successor, the Honorable Junet Mohammed, MP, as he takes over the office of the leader of the minority party. Honorable Speaker, you will agree with me that Honorable Mohammed, who completes his tenure as the minority party whip today, has with legendary humor and wit effectively discharged his role to the House and to the party. Honorable Mohammed, to you now. This is not an opportunity for you to fill my shoes. It is an opportunity to take this role to greater heights, in different shoes if need be. I wish you all the best in your new assignment. Honorable Speaker, finally, allow me to hand over. Okay, fine. Honorable Speaker, as I conclude, allow me to thank all my colleague members, now from both sides of the divide, for the immense support and cooperation you have accorded me. And I want to assure you that as I transit to the executive, my doors shall remain open. And we shall continue to engage one another as we together build this country and protect it from any attempts to sabotage it by whomsoever. Honorable Speaker, I want to conclude, Honorable Speaker, by thanking all of you. Asanteni sana.
Honorable Mbadi.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, mine may be a little longer because I've been here longer than Honorable Ndai. But Honorable Speaker, allow me to start by saying that today, as I make this final contribution on the floor of this Honorable House, with a lot of humility, gratitude, and honor, I want to give special thanks to the Almighty God, who gave me the energy and the noble commitment to stay focused on my role as Suba South MP for nearly 2 decades. Like all members who have spoken in this House, these wonderful debates approving our nominations, it's going to be a great wrench to leave the House. But as the book of Ecclesiastes 3:1-8 says, for everything there is a season and a time for every matter under heaven. Today comes that day to say goodbye to the Legislative Assembly. Honorable Speaker, as you are all aware, 2 weeks ago, His Excellency the President, Dr. William Samoei Ruto, nominated me as the Cabinet Secretary for National Treasury and Economic Planning, an appointment which I heartily accepted. Consequently, I have since been vetted by the Committee on Appointments and approved by this House to assume the new role. I want to thank you, members who have approved my nomination. By extending this hand of cooperation, may I exceptionally thank His Excellency the President for trust he bestowed upon me to sit at the topmost decision-making organ of the country. I am humbled by the warm gesture and remain mindful of the aspirations and expectations of Kenyans as I assume the office as the Cabinet Secretary, National Treasury and Economic Planning. Simply put, the people of Kenya are entrusting me with their granary. Honorable Speaker, in the backdrop of this long political journey, I wish to acknowledge my party leader, Right Honorable Raila Amolo Odinga, and the entire ODM fraternity, who imparted the foundations of knowledge and skills on leadership, as well as trusting me with party leadership positions. I am equally indebted to the space to ride on the same party ticket to Parliament for a record 17 years, priding myself as one of the longest-serving members of this House. I have said one of the longest. The Honorable Shakil Shaberi is complaining, but I have said one of the longest. The opportunity to serve as an assistant minister during the Grand Coalition government, minority leader in the 12th Parliament, Public Accounts Committee chair, and of course, the chairmanship of ODM for a decade. I honestly appreciate your immense support, contribution, and encouragement. Your valuable contribution will always remain treasured in my heart forever. Honorable Speaker, on social aspect or social dimension of this undertaking have been answered to my family, beginning with my late parents for their blessings that I carry with me today to greatness. To my beloved wife, Rhoda Mbadi, and my children, I am forever indebted to you for being my sounding board, always encouraging and pushing me to excel and be the best father and husband. Your full-time prayers, guidance, wisdom, and knowledge in the entire political journey gave me the zeal to proceed even during my lowest moments, and there were many. To my brothers, and that is where I'm going to end my family issues, may God bless you for your relentless efforts to support my academic journey and upbringing, always stepping in for our parents. Exceptional appreciation will go to two of my brothers, Stephen Ogola and Maurice Ogalo. If not for you, I would have dropped out of school. My brother, Stephen Ogola, I will never forget how you braved the harsh, cold weather of Kericho tea plantations, denying yourself the basics to get me school fees from your meager savings. I salute you. How I wish our late parents were alive to witness this historic moment. They have always wanted the best for us. May God keep their soul in eternal peace. And to the people of Suba South, I am deeply conscious of the fact that the thrust of dynamic debates and my parliamentary standing on the relevant issues was planted in me at a time of curious and unrelenting search for leadership position by you, my constituents, for 3 terms. I am grateful for the opportunity to serve you as your member of parliament for 15 years. Thank you for your support, organic love, and for ensuring that I won with increased majorities over the years. Honorable Speaker, as a community we did exceedingly well, utilizing NGCDF to ensure that our children continue to access quality education by strategically renovating and expanding our educational infrastructure and bursaries to cope with the number of students enrolling in schools. We leverage the participation of our people in meaningful development to transform lives through bigger, broader, better managed and well-resourced constituency projects. We enhance participatory approaches within the constituency and ensuring judicial use of public resources and many more. Thank you once again for the opportunity to be your member of parliament. And now to my fellow Kenyans. I am overwhelmed by the messages of goodwill you sent before, during, and after my vetting. My heart is elated with the heartwarming compliments and well wishes I have received so far. This demonstrates the level of confidence and hope Kenyans have in me. And dear colleagues, now I come to members of the National Assembly. Dear colleagues, I have never shied from playing my role as a member of this House. I have diligently performed my legislative functions to the best of my knowledge for the last 17 years. To this day, I will cite a few. I have represented my constituents and special interests in the National Assembly as required. I have participated in deliberation and resolutions of issues of concern to the people. I go on record as the only member of this House who, after meticulously analyzing the budget managed to discover a fictitious computer error of Kenya shillings 10 billion in the budget estimates for the financial year 2011 and 2012, which the ministry later acknowledged. I have participated in the enactment of the legislations in accordance with the Constitution, notably being part of the legislative task force that drafted the Public Finance Management Act 2012. As a member of the Constitutional Implementation Oversight Committee, I actively participated in the actualization of the Constitution of Kenya 2010, especially the enactment of legislations envisaged in the 5th schedule of the Constitution. Mr. Speaker, you'll remember you were with me in the 10th Parliament. Being in CIOC was very lucrative in the sense that people really respected you. Even ministers were fighting to be in that committee, and I got the privilege to be in that committee, and I served diligently. In 2013, I'm proud to have brought an amendment to the VAT Act on basic commodities from being standard rated to either zero rated or exempt community, which at least helped in lowering cost of living. I have diligently participated in appropriation of funds, as you all know, but I have outstandingly played my role in oversighting national government expenditures. I have also participated in the development of policies of national importance, just to mention but a few. I take over as Cabinet Secretary, Mr. Speaker, for the National Treasury and Economic Planning. I am acutely aware that we are at the center of a storm, a tax storm, a debt storm, and an economic storm. Nonetheless, we must forge forward. Honorable Speaker, I am aware of the very important relationship between the Cabinet Secretary and the National Treasury and this House. I cannot achieve any mandates without the support of the National Parliament as a whole. And therefore, from the onset, I want to plead for the support of this House in the work we are going to do. Honorable Speaker, I am also aware that the Finance Bill 2024 was very controversial. I'm also cognizant to the fact that the bill had some positive pro-mwananchi provisions. I propose to salvage these proposals. Firstly, I am aware that the bill contained provisions to make the housing levy and post-retirement medical contributions deductible. This would have elevated the pain on the pay slips of salaried employees. Secondly, the Finance Bill proposed to restore the provision on relief because of doubt or difficulty in recovery of tax. This provision is important because it allows the Commissioner to deal with the difficulty in collection of taxes due to unavoidable circumstances on the part of the taxpayer. However, I'm also aware that honourable members have expressed dissatisfaction with the unfettered discretion of the Commissioner. We can harmonise these two positions for the benefit of Mwananchi and to stem the abuse of the tax abandonment provisions. Additionally, the bill was that was also amended by the House Committee or proposed for amendment to extend the tax amnesty program as was contained in Section 37E of the Tax Procedures Act for a further 1 year. This is a quick win for both the taxpayer and the government. The government will continue to recover and collect taxes.
Give him the mic.
Actually, almost done, Mr. Speaker. I think I have one and a half pages, if you don't mind. Further, the Departmental Committee on Finance and National Planning had proposed amendments to make ETIMs workable for small-scale farmers and businesses. We have opportunity to leverage on this good idea. Finally, we need to devise methods of expanding the tax base with a view to collecting taxes from the traditionally hard-to-collect sectors in line with the national tax policy. This is an important strategy to protect existing businesses from overtaxation. We must protect the goose that lays the golden egg as we find other geese to lay more eggs. Honorable Speaker, I am also aware that there have been concerns relating to the difficulty of doing business in this country. I intend to work with the Planning Department and other government departments and all the relevant stakeholders to review data and legislation with a view to enhancing the ease of doing business in Kenya. I am very passionate about the management of the Kenya Revenue Authority, Mr. Speaker. The first and most important aspect is that we must employ the principles of corporate governance in the management of KRA, just like any other corporate body. There should be a distinction between the role of the chairperson of the board as a whole, and the Commissioner General as the CEO and the management officers of KRA. Honorable Speaker, additionally, during the vetting, I spoke about recruitment of competent officers at the Kenya Revenue Authority. I favor the policy where graduate trainees were recruited and trained both in class and on job. We need to restore policies that worked at the Kenya Revenue Authority before. Mr. Speaker, and this is my last page, honorable members. Honorable Speaker, with regards to Article 223 of the Constitution, I've been very vocal. As you are aware, I did propose an amendment to the Public Finance Management Act with a view to establishing some checks and balances of the use of this article. The bill did not proceed. However, I intend to ensure the prudent use of Article 223 of the Constitution in the overall fiscal framework. I am convinced that if we manage our debt with the application of Article 223 of the Constitution, we will have better balanced budgets.
Hey there friends, welcome to Kids on the Block, where fun and imagination come alive. We dive into magical world filled with exciting adventures and awesome friends.
What position were you in? I was number 2. What position were you? Number 1.
He decided to cross the bridge by his house and look for food on the other side.
We're going to do half cup of chocolate chips, and the other one, we're going to do half cup of the blueberries.
So, grab your imagination hats and get ready to explore with us. Join us every Saturday at 9 a.m. for new friends, amazing stories, and tons of laughter.
Kamati ya Bunge la Kitaifa ya Uteuzi yawasilisha ripoti ya matokeo yake kufuatia uchunguzi wa uteuzi wa mawaziri wa teule 20.
And 2, Honorable Speaker, rejects the appointment of Ms. Stella Soy Langat. Thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Uteuzi wa Stella Soy katika Wizara ya Jinsia, Sanaa na Utamaduni yakataliwa na kamati hiyo. Watu 5 wadhibitishwa kufariki na mvulana mmoja bado hajapatikana kufuatia maporomoko mawili ya ardhi yaliyotokea Kapkombe na Kapchebogel, Baringo Kaskazini, kutokana na mvua kubwa inayoonyesha eneo hilo. Miongoni mwa waliofariki ni watu wazima 2 na watoto 3.
Ningetaka kuomba wale ambao tumebaki tuende kwa mahali salama.
Washiriki wa timu ya Malkia Strikers pamoja na wanariadha wengine wajipata pabaya baada ya kukosa usafiri uliotarajiwa uliopangwa na Wizara ya Michezo baada ya kufika katika uwanja wa JKIA.
Ujambo na karibu. Mimi ni mtangazaji wako Paul Kirobi, mfasiri kwa lugha ya ishara, nafahamika kama Roda Nyamae. Kwa mtandao wa YouTube ni TV47 Live, @Paul Kirobi kwa mtandao wa Twitter au X @TV47KE. Tuandamane hadi tamati. Watu 5, 4 kutoka familia moja wameaga dunia, huku mmoja akitoweka sijulikane aliko kufuatia maporomoko ya ardhi katika kaunti ya Baringo. Na kama anavyotuarifu mwanahabari wetu Elizabeth Atieno, ni kwamba manusura 5 wameokolewa.
Biwi la simanzi limetanda katika kijiji cha Kapchebokel, eneo la Kasisit, familia moja ikiomboleza vifo vya watu 4 kufuatia maporomoko ya ardhi yaliyosababisha jumla ya vifo vya watu 5.
Nimepoteza mama, nimepoteza kijana mdogo, nimepoteza kijana katikati ya form 1.
Mporomoko huo wa ardhi pia uliathiri eneo la Kapkombe ambapo mwanamke mmoja alizikwa na matope kutokana na mporomoko huo wa ardhi. Makaburi mawili pia yakisombwa.
Yesterday at around past midnight we had a series of mudslides that happened within the ridge of Tugen Hills and more specifically along the Kapkombe area, that is Baringo North sub-county, and Kasisit area in a village called Chebogel. And so to that effect, yesterday it was unfortunate as a county that we lost 4 lives, and one of them was a child of 13 years old at Chebogel village, and the rest were 3 adults from Chebogel and 1 adult woman from Kapkombe village.
Kwa sasa baba na mwanawe kutoka familia hiyo ndio walionusurika. Baba huyo akisimulia kuwa alitoka mji wa Kabarnet hapo jana, ila kufuatia mvua kubwa alilazimika kusalia katika mji huo, na hapo ndipo alipokea taarifa kuwa familia yake nzima ilifariki kufuatia mporomoko huo wa ardhi.
So mimi ndio nasikia uchungu sana. Nyumba ya mzee imeenda yote, kuku yangu imeenda yote, store, kila kitu. So mimi sina kitu.
Kuna watu ambao wako traumatized sana kwa sababu ya hii maafa. Kupoteza watu 4 wa jamii moja sio rahisi. Ni kitu ngumu sana.
Tulipozuru eneo la tukio, shirika la Msalaba Mwekundu na idara ya huduma za dharura kaunti ya Baringo walikuwa wakisaka mtu mmoja ambaye angali kujulikana aliko, huku 5 wakiwa wamepatikana.
Baringo County Government, the road infrastructure is affected by this disaster, and we hope the rain will subside so that we can respond properly.
Wakazi kutoka vijiji vilivyoathirika wamehimizwa kuhamia maeneo salama. Elizabeth Atieno, TV47.
Na tukiachana taarifa yake Elizabeth Atieno, kwingineko ni kwamba idara ya polisi imetaja kuwa ina taarifa ya kijasusi kuwa kuna wahalifu wanaopanga kuvamia maandamano ya amani ya kizazi cha Gen Z. Maandamano hayo yenye jina 88 yanalenga kuwakutanisha takriban watu milioni 1 jijini Nairobi, huku polisi wakiwahakikishia Wakenya usalama wao. Sheila Chalangat anatuarifu mengi zaidi.
Hapo Wakenya ambao wamekuwa wakishinikiza mageuzi na uwajibikaji serikalini wanatarajiwa kuandamana. Maandamano ambayo yanalenga kuwakutanisha mamilioni ya watu kutoka kote nchini hapa jijini Nairobi. Na huku hali ya wasiwasi kitanda kufuatia maandamano hayo, Rais William Ruto amewahimiza Wakenya kukataa maandamano ambayo yanaweza kutatiza amani nchini.
Hatutaki maandamano ambayo inaleta maafa, ambayo inalete kuharibifu wa mali, ambayo watu wanapoteza mali yao. Tunataka amani. Watu wa Embu mnasema tunataka amani ama mnataka fujo iendelee?
Kufuatia hayo, idara ya polisi imetangaza kuwa imepata taarifa za kijasusi kuwa kuna wahuni wanaopanga kusababisha uhalifu mkubwa.
Our intelligence report indicated that there are security threats to the country, with criminal planning to infiltrate tomorrow's demonstration and commit further crimes. In anticipation, we have ensured adequate deployment of security personnel.
Na kufuatia uvamizi wa awali kwenye majengo ya bunge katika maandamano ya awali, waandamanaji wameombwa kukaa mbali na maeneo hayo.
We also wish to caution members of the public against contravening the Kenya Civil Aviation Act and Protected Areas Act by avoiding trespass of protected areas such as Jomo Kenyatta International Airport and State House lodges.
Naibu Inspekta wa polisi Gilbert Masengeli amesisitiza kuwa idara ya polisi imejipanga vilivyo kuwahakikishia Wakenya usalama.
Members of public are advised to take extra caution while in crowded areas that are likely to turn riotous.
Sheila Chalangat, runinga ya TV47.
Kwingineko ni kwamba familia na waathiriwa wa shambulio la bomu katika ubalozi wa Marekani katika mwaka 1998 hii leo zilikusanyika katika eneo la kumbukumbu kwa ajili ya maombi ya ukumbusho wa shambulio hilo. Fidia imesalia kuwa ombi kama ilivyo ada kila mwaka. Mamia ya familia na waathiriwa bado hawajapokea fidia miaka 26 baadaye. Anodida na maelezo zaidi.
Siku haikuwa siku mzuri, ilikuwa siku mbaya.
Ilikuwa Friday na mzee alikuwa anakuja town asubuhi.
Kwa mara nyingine tena, familia na waathiriwa wa mlipuko wa bomu wa mwaka 1998 walikusanyika katika hafla ya kumbukumbu kwa siku hii iliyokatiza maisha ya wanafamilia zao na vilevile kuwaacha wengine katika hali mbaya zaidi. Tukio hilo lililotokea katika jumba la benki ya Cooperative mnamo Agosti tarehe 7 lilisababisha vifo vya watu 213.
I was 12 years old, so I was still a kid. Life hasn't been easy as always, so we always try as much as we can to live a day at a time. A few of us, then things were always hard. They've been hard.
Katika kuadhimisha kumbukumbu ya miaka 26 ya tukio hili, waliohudhuria walisisitiza wito wa kulipwa fidia hasa kwa wale waathiriwa ambao hawakuwa waajiriwa wa ubalozi wa Marekani.
Serikali ituhurumie, itulipe, ifuatilie hiyo kesi yetu ndio tupate kitu angari.
Tunaomba tu serikali itusaidie kufuatilia hii mambo ya bomb blast kwa sababu sio sisi, sio Kenya ilitekeleza hiyo mambo.
Maendeleo yamepatikana katika kutafuta haki na kutambuliwa kwa waathiriwa. Ubalozi wa Marekani umewalipa fidia raia wake ambao waliathiriwa na shambulio hilo la bomu. Hata hivyo, familia za raia wasio wa Marekani ambao waliangamia au kujeruhiwa katika shambulio hilo wanaendelea kutetea kutambuliwa sawa na msaada wa kifedha. Familia zinapokumbuka wapendwa wao na kutafakari kuhusu maendeleo yaliyopatikana, kuhakikisha kwamba sauti za wale walioathirika hazisahauliki. Odida, TV47.
Asante sana Anodida kwa taarifa hiyo. Timu ya taifa ya volleyball ya wanawake Malkia Strikers walipokea makaribisho baridi jana usiku waliporejea kutoka kwa mashindano ya Olimpiki. Kikosi hiki kilibanduliwa nje ya michezo hii kwenye awamu ya makundi. Tony Kwalanda alikuwa katika uwanja wa ndege wa kimataifa wa Jomo Kenyatta na kutuandalia taarifa ifuatayo.
Basi rasmi la timu ya taifa ya Kenya ya michezo ya Olimpiki lilikuwa wapi jana usiku wakati timu ya Malkia Strikers ilipowasili kutoka Paris? Hawa ni baadhi ya wachezaji na makocha wa kikosi hiki wakijitafutia mbinu ya kuelekea nyumbani baada ya kutua katika uwanja wa ndege wa Jomo Kenyatta. Ilichapisha masaibu haya kwenye mitandao ya kijamii na Wakenya walitoa hisia tofauti kuhusu tukio hili. Kamati teule ya michezo ya Olimpiki ililazimika kueleza mambo yalivyokuwa kwa mabingwa hawa wa bara Afrika. Jana usiku nilifika katika uwanja huu wa ndege saa 4 usiku na basi rasmi la timu ya taifa halikuwepo. Wiki chache kabla ya michezo hii, karamu iliandaliwa kuzindua basi rasmi kwa matumizi ya vikosi vya timu za taifa.
And now there will be no excuse for them say that we don't have enough vehicles.
Msemaji wa serikali alisema kuwa bado wanachunguza tukio hili. Na kama Wakenya wengi wanavyoamini, Malkia Strikers ni mashujaa wa taifa ambao wanastahili kupewa maua yao kwa ujasiri wao. Tony Kwalanda, TV47.
Tukiachana na taarifa hiyo, kwingineko ni kwamba serikali kupitia Wizara ya Masuala ya Kigeni imedhibitisha usalama wa maafisa wa polisi wa Kenya nchini Haiti uko imara baada ya ripoti za afisa wa Kenya aliyepigwa risasi kusambaa mitandaoni wiki jana. Katibu katika wizara hiyo Daktari Korir Singoe amesema kwamba afisa huyo alitibiwa na kupata nafuu baada ya kujeruhiwa katika makabiliano na magenge huko Port-au-Prince. Na kama anavyotuarifu mwanahabari wetu Mike Kagongo ni kwamba wizara hiyo imepanga hafla ya asasi ya raia ya Pan Africa inayofahamika kama Africa for Initiative mwezi huu yenye lengo la kuangazia changamoto nyingi zinazoikabili nchi hiyo.
Afisa wa polisi wa Kenya ambaye ni sehemu ya misheni ya kimataifa ya usaidizi wa usalama nchini Haiti Jumanne wiki iliyopita alijeruhiwa na risasi wakati wa mapigano ya risasi na baadhi ya magenge. Kulingana na katibu mkuu wa masuala ya kigeni Korir Singoe, afisa huyo alijeruhiwa begani alipokuwa akijaribu kuwafukuza wahalifu wanaodaiwa kupora lori kando ya barabara ya hospitali moja ya kitaifa.
And in that context, there was a situation in which
they encountered one of the gangs and one of them was shot.
Korir amethibitisha kwamba afisa huyo wa polisi wa Kenya alitibiwa na kupata nafuu na alikuwa tayari kuungana na maafisa wengine kwenye misheni hiyo.
He is actually recovered already. And it will just take a few more days before he goes back to duty.
Licha ya usaidizi wa serikali ya Haiti katika kutekeleza wajibu wao, mojawapo ya vikwazo vinavyokabili maafisa wa usalama wa Kenya nchini Haiti ni kushindwa kwao kutangamana na wakazi wa eneo hilo kwa mazungumzo ya kina.
A resident translator as well, and they're working very closely with their counterparts within the Haitian National Police.
Kufuatia ukosefu wa taarifa mwafaka kuhusu shughuli zinazofanyika kwenye misheni hiyo, Wizara ya Mambo ya Kigeni na Africa for Haiti kwa pamoja zitakuwa mwenyeji wa tamasha la utamaduni mnamo tarehe 24 Agosti mwaka huu. Madhumuni ya hafla hiyo sio tu kuwaonyesha Wakenya uungwaji mkono kwa ajili ya maendeleo na ustawi wa watu wa Haiti, bali pia kuonyesha utangamano na ushirikiano wao.
And that is why we at Africa for Haiti saw it fit that we establish this initiative so that we can bridge that gap and build a people-to-people relationship through culture, through music, through arts, dance, and many other activities.
To generate solidarity from the bottom in support of this deployment so that Kenyans can connect with this mission.
Mike Kagwango, TV47, Nairobi.
Asante sana Mike Kagongo kwa taarifa hiyo. Kamati ya uteuzi bungeni imewapitisha mawaziri wateule 19 kati ya 20 wakidinda kupitisha jina lake waziri mteule katika wizara ya jinsia Stella Soi Langat kwa ukosefu wa maarifa kuhusiana na wizara hiyo, wakisisitiza kuwa hakuridhisha kamati hiyo kuhudumu katika wizara hiyo muhimu. Elizabeth Mutuku na taarifa kamili.
Akiwasilisha ripoti ya kamati ya uteuzi bungeni, kiongozi wa wengi Kimani Ichung'wah amesifia utendakazi wa kamati hiyo, huku akiweka bayana kuwa mawaziri 19 waliridhisha kamati hiyo wakati wa kujitetea na kuonyesha umahiri wao, japo mmoja tu, Stella Soi Langat, ambaye kamati hiyo inasema kuwa ana uwezo wa kuhudumia Wakenya lakini sio katika wizara ya jinsia na utamaduni, akiwataka wabunge kuunga mkono ripoti hiyo.
Fortunate mentions of our honorable ladies without husbands, and this being a gender ministry, Honorable Speaker, it was a feeling of many people across the country that she may not sit well to address gender issues in that ministry. True, Honorable Speaker, that the nominee is unsuitable for the position to which she was nominated, as she was unable to respond in a satisfactory manner to the queries raised during the approval hearing relating to gender, heritage and culture.
Wabunge wakisifia pakubwa hatua ya Rais William Ruto kuunda serikali ya muungano ambayo inanuia kuwaleta Wakenya pamoja, huku naye kiongozi wa wachache Junet Mohamed akisema kuwa mawaziri kutoka upinzani wanaleta umahiri wao katika serikali yake Rais William Ruto.
Those are the best nominees this country can have, Mr. Speaker. The best experts this country can have, Mr. Speaker. When they appeared before the committee, Mr. Speaker, the committee was perplexed. They said we didn't know ODM have this kind of expertise, Mr. Speaker. We thought ODM is just hecklers and people who throw stones, people who make noise in this town, Mr. Speaker. But now we have proved to Kenyans and to the public and to this house that the best expertise is found in ODM, Mr. Speaker.
Kadhalika wabunge wamewataka mawaziri kutumikia taifa kwa lengo la kumsaidia Rais William Ruto kuendeleza ahadi yake kwa Wakenya, bali sio kuendana na kinyume na matakwa ya Gen Z na Wakenya, haswa katika ubadhirifu wa mali ya umma na pia kujionyesha kupitia mali walizo nazo.
Questions that we need to ask this country. That when you come and say my wealth is this amount, it is always good to expound so that Kenyans don't start thinking, oh, you are doing tenders with government, or that is why you have made your money, or this. No, just expound and explain. But we cannot right now blame the nominees. We can only blame our act the way it is.
By the DPP and the comments by the EACC, Honorable Speaker, to me is a bit worrying. That the DPP comes and says he has no case with a particular nominee, but the EACC says they have an issue. These are departments of the same government. Honorable Speaker, there is no way both of them can be saying the truth. One must be saying the truth, the other one must be lying to Kenyans. And it is important, Honorable Speaker, when these cases come up to a FETI committee like what you are chairing, Honorable Speaker, that we allow time to sort out these issues.
Na licha ya wengi kuwa na msimamo tofauti kwa Stella Soi, baadhi ya wabunge walilitaka bunge kumpa nafasi nyingine, kwani huenda alishindwa tu kujieleza.
For a rejection or a disapproval of this part and its amendment, so that this lady may also be included. Honorable Speaker, in the first parliament, we rejected Phyllis Kandie, and she performed very well, Malonza. Now it is this lady. What is our issue with the ladies that every vetting, at least some woman must be rejected? Honorable
Elizabeth Mutuko, TV47, Nairobi.
Asante sana Elizabeth Mutuku kwa taarifa hiyo. Kwingineko ni kwamba Benki Kuu ya Kenya imetoa toleo jipya la noti za shilingi 50, shilingi 100, shilingi 200, shilingi 500 na shilingi 1000. Baadhi ya mabadiliko yaliyofanywa katika toleo hili jipya ni saini ya gavana wa Benki Kuu ya Kenya, ambapo litakuwa la Daktari Kamau Thuge. Saini ya katibu wa hazina ya fedha litakuwa la Daktari Chris Kipto. Mwaka uliochapishwa itaashiria mwaka 2024, na ili kupambana na uhalifu wa kugushi, toleo hili limeongezewa ubora kwenye alama maalum, ambapo inapoinamishwa noti hiyo kiasi rangi hubadilika na kila noti ina rangi yake. Aidha, sehemu hizo zingine za noti zinabaki vivyo hivyo kama awali. Aidha, toleo hili jipya lina taswira inayozingatia maendeleo ya uchumi na jamii.